This is the Mountainside Podcast, and joining us in studio once again is my good friend Michael Pintar. Mike is a pro rodeo photographer traveling around the U.S., capturing amazing moments of rodeo cowboys, American heritage. Mike is a photographer that I hold in the highest regard. He's been a true inspiration to my own art. If you are not following Pintar Photography on Instagram, you absolutely should be. But above all that, Mike is a great friend. I always enjoy his company. We dove all over the place in conversation tonight. It was an amazing episode. I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Excited. Here we go. Jared is in studio. He wasn't in last time.
No.
He's a friend of yours. He's the guy that actually recommended you to the podcast.
Yeah.
And welcome back, Mike.
Hey, great to be here. Cheers.
Dude, we've been trying to get you back in here for a minute, but you're a busy guy.
Been out on the road a little bit.
Yeah, man, you've been crushing it since the last time you've been in.
Thank you. Not as much as I would like to. The damn gas prices.
Yeah, that's true. I would imagine. Fucking
But-
driving around the country is not fun, right?
Yeah. Idaho was good, though, because both the rodeos I did there were, they're paid gigs. So that helps out a lot. You don't really make a lot of money at it. I'd say you more or less break even. So, again, it really comes down to just doing what you love.
It'll happen one day, man. Your work speaks for itself. So
Thank you.
for people that are just tuning into this thing or didn't listen to Mike's last one, you're a pro rodeo photographer.
Yes, sir.
You have some pretty high demands. You told me that you weren't going to do the podcast unless Jeremy was here.
I did have that.
It's quite a win on Mike's part.
Yeah. I was really excited again to see Jeremy here. Didn't I send you that text? I says, Jeremy going to be there?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
No, that's
I love
awesome.
you guys.
And I think the last time you were in, it was just you and me, and we ended up just going 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Bell to bell, and didn't miss a beat. So
No, we spent a good hour, I think, just opening up, talking about music and stuff.
yeah, I don't even think we talked about what you do.
No, we dipped the toes in the water just ever so slightly on some of the rodeo photography.
All right,
but,
we'll do some more of that on this one. I definitely owe you that one. And cheers.
well, it's damn good to be
Jeremy,
back.
good to have you here
Cheers,
too.
boys.
Thank you,
as
Jeremy.
always.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Right on.
So, been on the road though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Idaho, you were at Cheyenne.
I did Cheyenne, not during the whole week, not all 10 days, I think is what it is, 10 days, 9 performances or however it goes. But I did shoot opening weekend at Cheyenne and then the finals weekend, which was...
That's the granddad of them all, or something,
right. It was
right? Isn't that what they
exciting.
call it?
Yeah, the daddy of them all. And
I don't think that I've ever been, but it is a huge ass event, right?
it's a big rodeo. I think more even so from a traditional sense that I can't think of a single contestant that wouldn't aspire to make Cheyenne one of their ultimate go-to rodeos, at least annually, and try to win it. It's neat from a photographer standpoint too, because you know, for somebody like me who shoots in the arena a lot, you're not given that option there. You have to shoot either from what they call the photography pit, which is directly across from the bucking chutes. And on any given day, there'll probably be another 5, 6, up to, I think it can hold up to 15 photographers in there. Yeah, so you're pretty nut to butt in there on the finals, but the fact of the matter is it's still pretty neat because you get provided you have the right equipment, you're still getting what I would say is close enough to reaching out and getting the action, and for somebody who is trying to focus a lot more on sticking it out. When you want to get like some of the bullfighters like Cody Webster and Dusty Tuckness, who are two of the greatest, you want to be able to kit them, helping the bull riders when they're bucked off and then fending off that bull. And a lot of times, if you're like me, who does like to shoot in the arena, you can't really stick around as long as you'd like to because you're trying to make sure you don't get ran over by the bull. Yeah. So Cheyenne gives you that opportunity to be able to stick around and get some pretty cool shots of those guys. And so I don't know.
So are you like underground shooting?
Yeah, you're eye level practically.
Really?
Yeah. So you're in a pit. You step down into it and you're looking. The dirt is right at your eyes, and so in fact, you have to be wary of the horses as they're coming around, because the tons of dirt will get kicked into there, and so
It's like being in a shark cage.
yeah, yeah, it is. Well, in fact, it's funny you mentioned that. When you shoot PBR events, I did a velocity tour shoot in West Virginia a while back, and they asked me if I wanted to shoot in the cage that night. That's right in the arena. That is a lot of fun.
Oh, is that what's in the middle? It's a cage?
Yeah, there's a cage in there.
Wow.
So they'll announce from the top of it, or the rider might hop up on top of the little mini stage that it really is, but you actually step down into that and you can shoot in there too, and that is really exciting.
I bet.
That's a lot of fun. So yeah, Cheyenne was really cool, and it was my first time going there. I didn't even know what you had to do to be able to do it. And then I called up my buddy Click Thompson, and said, "Hey, what do I got to do to get into Cheyenne? I know you shoot that." And he goes, "Just get it, right to them early, to the committee, and request to be able to shoot it."
So is it X amount of spots for?
Yeah, on a daily level. So when you get there, usually the day before, you want to tell them, "Hey, I'm going to shoot in the pit the first half of the rodeo, and then maybe shoot at the chutes the second half of the rodeo, or I'm going to stay in the pit the entire rodeo." You have to decide what you want to do there. And for a first timer in Cheyenne, for me, it was I didn't know what to do. So, but I did enjoy the pit, and I got some good shots behind the bucking chutes too.
But that's a traditional rodeo that's been happening for hundreds of years too.
Yeah,
right?
what is it?
I would imagine that the wait list is ridiculous.
Well,
to get into those, but I don't think that there's also. Is it kind of picked by priority? Because your work speaks for itself, like I said.
Thank you.
Like,
yeah,
it's freaking amazing, man. Like,
well, thank you. Yeah. It's interesting because they let other media outlets in there, so you might be shooting for, say, I don't know, just Western Horseman magazine or something, and you can come in there and shoot. But PRCA, Pro Rodeo Cowboy Association, photogs like myself do get the honor of being able to be able to do it, to get accepted in there, just because they know that we've gone through what it takes to become a PRCA photographer.
right. So you're sanctioned by them, or
Yeah.
carded by them, or whatever it is, right?
Right. And then there's the sheer logistics too. Not everybody, not every photographer is going to be able to make Cheyenne, because there's also, it's cowboy Christmas time of year. So there's rodeos going on all over the country. And so there's just some people that simply will be like, okay, I'm going to go shoot this rodeo instead. Yeah, Cheyenne sounds cool. So it never, I don't think it ever gets too overcrowded over there.
Yeah, the history of it too. Like,
Bobby, you sound far away.
do I?
Yeah.
I sound kind of quiet, don't I?
Yeah.
Technology.
Technology.
I suppose I'm probably.
You sound great.
Is that a little
Oh,
better?
thanks,
Yeah.
Jeremy.
That's a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right up on top of it too when you're asking me that.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, Mike?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, cool. We'll just keep rolling with it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, just stay up on it.
Yeah.
Stay on top of it, Mike.
Yeah, so where was I going? Oh,
Cowboy Christmas.
Did Lane
Yeah.
Frost, the great late Lane Frost, did he die in Cheyenne?
Yeah, he died in Cheyenne. Yeah.
Do they do any sort of tribute to him or anything? during the event?
Yeah, I would say on an annual basis, there's always that looming presence of recognizing and paying tribute to Lane. Cody Webster did that right before the beginning of the last day. He posted something on Instagram that just said, "How can you not look around here and know that this is where Lane Frost was, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, for a long time there." And so it's pretty cool. And then ironically, Cody, he took a little bit of a beating there at the end. I think it was, he was, I can't remember the bull rider he was fending off and helping, but he got trampled pretty good, broke a few ribs, I think.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, because one of the other photographers and I were sitting there afterwards and comparing frame for frame on what we got, and it's pretty dramatic. But
Really?
Cody's doing fine now, but boy, what those guys do is amazing.
No, it's totally amazing. I follow Cody, and he's an amazing guy. Amazing follow on Instagram, too.
Yeah.
But do you hear an echo? Yep. All right, hold on 1 second. We're going to get this.
Yeah, it was like no background.
That's better, right?
Oh, dude, 1,000%.
I don't know what was going on. If I had a mic too hot or something, or
Can you hear me though? All right.
Yeah, you haven't changed.
It's a lot cleaner too.
There was
It
like,
is cleaner.
There was
There was
there was background noise. There was like shh, yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Hey,
Technical
we're back.
issues.
No
We're back.
problem. We got it dialed in.
So we were talking about Cody Webster, bullfighter, right? He's probably cream of the crop, right? Like one of the
him and
top
Dusty.
dudes.
Yeah, I like it when those two work together. I got to work with them both in Vernal, Utah, too, earlier this year, and I say I got to work with them. I just stay the heck out of their way as much as possible. But it's really unique when you do get to shoot a rodeo where people that you look up to are there working with you, and there's a reason why they're the best, and it just makes for a whole overall better functioning rodeo. I mean, these guys are they're just really good.
Yeah,
and
they definitely are, man. I think that those are the guys that I like to watch the most. Is honestly the Bullfighters, and they're cool guys to hang out with too, man. They're kind of selfless, right? Throw yourself in front of a freaking bull to save a cowboy, right? Yeah. It's a wild sport.
Oh, I'm surprised that when I start looking back at my photos, and now that I said I'm trying to really stick it out a little longer and get some of those images, those guys are hands-on. I mean, literally hands-on. Their hand is on the head of that bull all the time, or they're grabbing a horn, or they're pushing the forehead of that bull, or pushing off of them. I want to go to like a rodeo school, like to find out what that is. I mean, I've been in the arena enough to
like
be able to
bullfighting school. Or something?
Yeah. I'm not saying I want to become a bullfighter, but the techniques might come in handy a little bit. I mean, I still got some wheels underneath this old
I would
body.
think you'd be wearing cleats or something out there. I think I asked you that last time, man.
Yeah.
Just because you got to get the fuck out of the way when one of those things is barreling down on you, I would imagine, right?
Well, and we've had a muddy season. Yeah, there's Cody. Yeah.
Do you got any pictures of him on your Instagram that you took?
Dude, literally right there, hands on.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. That's what I'm talking about.
What a psycho.
Holy shit. And that's Dusty there, too. Oh, yeah, this right here at Cheyenne. Look at that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, when you just look at him, I mean, he tears that barrel up, too.
Those guys are awesome, man. Cody, if you're listening to this, shout out. We'd love to have you in here anytime you're in town.
Wow.
So.
Oh, absolutely. He's just humble and down to earth, and that's look at that.
That is crazy, man. So people that are just listening to this, we're watching him basically save a cowboy from getting trampled, and he's got both of his hands on the bull's head.
Yeah.
At one point, one on a horn, and just to divert the bull from totally trampling a cowboy or killing him.
Understanding that body language from that bull, what they're going to do, and it's interesting.
I think you got a badass job, man. Is that one of your photos there?
I don't know if that. No, that is who did that one? Oh, his wife did.
Nice.
Yeah. She's she goes by Smash Webster.
Damn, look at the balls
she's doing
on
a
that bull.
bunch.
That guy's
hard to
healthy.
miss, huh?
Look at that yam sack.
Those are some real Rocky Mountain oysters there.
He's careful when he sits down.
Yeah.
Exactly. You might find something on my Instagram. I thought I put something up there of Cody. I've got a bunch more. That's
dude. The horse photos are the ones that I like to look at of yours. Are just insane because those bucking horses are fucking wild, man.
I like this one. All the dudes are all casual underneath.
Yeah.
There's just insanity happening.
Just another day at the office, boys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Ryan Sanford, he set an arena record that day.
That's awesome.
92 and a half. I think
the highest score? Or?
Yeah, highest score in that arena in Saddle Bronc, 92 and a half.
So explain to me the scoring system. Is it hey, I want to point out something else too real quick while we're here, and then we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the kind of the off-kilter. It's not just all rodeo photography that you do.
No.
Like this dude in the headdress, that's an incredible photo, man.
Yeah.
Like the color, the beadwork, the art that's in that, and then you catching that in the moment, and It's incredible, Mike.
The Shoshone
What an
Bannock
awesome
tribe is
fucking
out there.
photo, man.
Yeah, in Idaho. And I think it's important to I just saw that and it caught my attention and I thought, man, look at the colors and I don't know if I'm right on this or not, but tribes are allowed to have eagle feathers and stuff. And so I don't know if that's eagle there or not, but they do mention
It sure
something
looks
about
like it, man.
Yeah. And it's just, there's something about it. I think that it's important to pay tribute to some of the heritage behind that rodeo as well. So that's why I posted that picture.
Yeah. Not only that, like the porcupine hair or horse hair or whatever that is, and
Yeah, I
just
don't
the
know what all
whole.
that is.
Look at the beadwork. Could you imagine how long it took to make that chess piece?
Yeah. And
I
it's,
mean, there's probably, I don't know. I couldn't make that in my lifetime. I don't think.
oh, it's unbelievable. And I, in fact, I didn't even really look at all that on his chest and his
And you
arm
caught
there.
it perfectly, man. Like you can
Thank
see
you.
all the detail, like the sharpness in that is incredible, man.
I think so. The bonnet is the round parts that you see, like up near his head, as far as I know, and that is earned too. So this is all things that this gentleman Seymour here earned. Seymour Eagle Speaker is his name, and yeah, he just really caught my eye when I was in the arena photographing him at the beginning of the rodeo. And I
That's
think
so
it's important
badass.
to capture that stuff too.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
sharing a little bit of their culture, and I don't think you really get to see it. Like I was fortunate enough in some of the work that I've done that I've gotten to go on a few reservations, and those people are full artists, man. When it comes to like the silver work that they do, and just what they're selling off of a card table,
Yeah.
is unbelievable, man. Like
It's
pretty cool.
Yeah, when I would go through when I lived down in Arizona, I was always cutting through the Navajo, and you'd go stop it. It's worth stopping at some of those stands that they have. There's just so much cool stuff.
Hey, Jeremy, scroll back up. Keep going. Back up, back up. So that's Cody right there.
Yeah,
isn't
Cody
it?
and that's in Cheyenne.
That's a badass photo, man.
Thank you. I think there's a few. Of
Oh,
other-
look, we
other
commented on it. That must have been me.
ones. Look at that, right on.
can't spell anything, so it's just a fire emoji.
Fire. Yeah, you gotta have it.
Yeah, that's badass, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that I put up a few pictures behind that one too as well, but it was
It's
just.
cool because you don't see many photos of the bullfighters in action. And it's probably because of what you said, because the photographers are probably trying to get the hell out of the way too, huh? At that
Yeah,
point.
for those that I think that shoot in the arena and try to be as close to the action as possible. I mean, I don't. I saw something the other day. Somebody paid a nice compliment to me on my Facebook page about a photo. Just said excellent work. And then I saw somebody else chime in. I can't even think of the name. And this person was also a photographer. And they said, hey, the rodeo I was at. Well, at first he said, yeah, Mike does really good work, excellent work. Unfortunately, the rodeo that I shot recently, without saying what rodeo it was, this person had mentioned, but the rodeo didn't provide the action or that I needed to be able to get the shots. And I'm thinking,
how could it not, man? These are fucking
Right.
wild animals,
yeah,
dude. Like,
you can make something out of everything. I don't even care if it's mutton busting. You can make something out of it. So that's where when people start to go, hey, you have an eye for this, or you have a creative mind. Maybe there's just some lack of creativity there.
what is mutton busting?
That's where they get on the sheep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's little kids, right? It's
Yeah.
not like cowboys getting on sheep.
Yeah,
But, okay.
yeah,
All right.
exactly. But I looked at this person's pictures and I go, well, number one, you were shooting possibly with the wrong lens, and you're so far away that you need to either, hopefully have enough megapixels to go in and crop it if you were shooting from that far away. But again, this is
Yeah, I'm sorry
why
to
I
say
try
it.
to shoot as close as I can to
Sounds
the
like
action.
you're a shitty photographer, honestly.
His iPhone photography.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going, just if you want to get what I'm trying to do, then you do have to get close. And fortunately, even in when I just shot Jerome, Idaho, the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo, which those folks out there were excellent, but it's the first time that I had met everybody there. And so you want to not only be kind and courteous, which is all part of what you do anyway with rodeo, but you want to be able to, to hustle and do a good job. And part of that starts with saying, hey, I'm going to go up to the pickup men and the stock contractor as well as the rodeo director and let them know that, hey, I'm comfortable shooting in the arena as long as you know that I swim at my own risk out here. I will do my best to not get in your way. And
yeah, because those guys got a job to do too, right?
Right. Yeah. And I was really happy that after I had gotten done with the previous rodeo, the War Bonnet Roundup in Idaho Falls, I talked to the pickup men at the end of the deal. We're all hanging out having a beer, and I just said, hey, listen, thanks for letting me shoot the way I normally do again, guys. And he goes, Mike, I got to be honest with you, I never even knew you were there. And I'm always looking back behind me to see if they're on their horses right behind me, or sometimes I'll be right next to them. But I try to stay out of their way as much as possible.
Talk about having your head on a swivel. It's like stepping onto a football field.
It is. It is.
Or worse. I mean, Jesus Christ. You're talking about something that weighs, what? Those bulls probably weigh 2,000 pounds, some of them.
More in some cases. 1,800 to, I'd say 2,200 is about the average.
And they're fast as hell.
Oh, they are fast. And here's the thing. You don't want to make the number one mistake you make. And I now and then I know that I'm not supposed to do it, and I might catch myself and stop myself in it, but getting done with a ride and you're looking down at your camera or something. I actually did this, of all things. I think it was at the American earlier this year, which
checking your Instagram likes.
Right. Yeah, watching the Cowboy Channel live on your cell phone. But I was walking in front of a
those AI girls are hot.
The AI girls, exactly. I was looking at my camera, so you got your screen on there, and you're just and the cool part about like the Canon R5s that I shoot with is when you look through the eyepiece, it's like a loop, so you can really kind of look and see if you're getting the right details. But you don't have a lot of time in between rides or anything. And there was something I was doing. There was something I had to look at. Maybe it was my early shots, just to make sure I was getting them good. But when you're shooting the American, the final day at the American, there's 60,000+ fans there. You're in Arlington, Texas, where the Texas Rangers play.
Oh, shit.
And I caught myself walking, like looking at my camera, and then I just kind of stopped. And I look at where I stopped, and they're getting ready to buck the bull out of that chute. And I'm going, what a rookie mistake was that?
Oh, shit.
And I just looked at them.
So you were standing right where they were going to open the gate.
They're like, yeah, can we run a rodeo here, pal? Can you get out of the way?
Oh, shit. At least they were gracious enough.
Well, and fortunately, they know that I know better, and they know me.
Right.
So I kind of played it off as like, oh, I was just kidding around. But I truly was. I felt like an idiot. But
that's crazy.
But it's so you don't look at your shots. Rarely, if ever, in the arena, because every single event has some type of setting that you have that you need to be ready for all the time. So
sure, I think that's probably a big thing, is going in there prepared, right? Like, you don't want to be fucking around with your camera when you got to try to make a shot or
no.
Yeah,
I know all my settings that I prefer, whether you have ambient light during the day and or nighttime. So.
Yeah, we could get real geeky on this, man, because I have a passion for photography. But maybe I'll ask you some of this off the air. I want to know more about the rodeo aspect and at the pro level. Are you running into the same guys a lot of the times?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just mentioned this kid that just had the highest score ever at Cheyenne on a saddle bronc course.
Yeah, that's the first I've ever caught of him. That was, but like right there, you
photo too, man. That's badass.
But like Lefty Holman, I'll run into throughout the year. He's out of California, so he's a different circuit. But there's no way somebody like him's not going to show up at Cheyenne, even though it's a Mountain States circuit rodeo. So how that works is, even myself as a PRCA carded photographer, I designate myself as being part of the Mountain States circuit. Now, as a competitor, I have to do so many rodeos throughout the season in my circuit. So I can't remember how many it is. It could be.
So to break it down, is it like the AFC related to football? Because I'm a big dumb guy, but is it like the AFC West and the AFC East?
It's
Is
mostly
it like,
it's mostly circuits. So you have like Mountain State, the Prairie Circuit, the Southeast is I can't remember what the Southeast.
So are they
circuit's called.
quadrants of the country, or
Yeah, because it's based upon where you live.
Gotcha.
So somebody like Lefty here, he'll show up he might end up still being at a rodeo in say Florida, maybe not likely, but he might go to Kissimmee in the beginning of the year if the payout's good enough. That won't qualify towards a rodeo in his circuit, but it's still a rodeo that he can do.
So is that how they get fed to like the NFR, like the National Finals rodeos?
Right.
They have to be number one in their circuit or something?
Well,
or is
no,
that-
the NFR will take the top 15 in all events. So if you place,
So that's nationally.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So if you're one of the top 15 money winners at the end of the year, at the end of the season, which ends on September 30th. By the way, do you guys know when rodeo starts? And ends?
I think it starts January 1st and ends December like 14th or 15th, doesn't it?
No, well, actually, the rodeo season ends September 30th or at the end of September.
Okay,
So that's
I'm
when
way
it's done.
off. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
And you know when it starts again? October 1st, the very next day. So the rodeo season never ends.
That's crazy.
And but now, like say, for example, in this case, Lefty Holman here, who's on the path right now to qualifying again for another one of his NFR's National Final Rodeos, he'll finish in the top 15 by the end of September and probably not pick up any of the new rodeos between there and the National Finals Rodeo, which is always in December. Or he might pick up a rodeo or two or show up at some stuff. But it's interesting because, when the season's over on September 30th, you've got everybody decided who's going to go to the National Finals Rodeo. And that's where there's big money there.
So are those guys not chancing getting hurt so
I
they
would
can go
think
to
so.
the national finals? Because that's like that's the Super Bowl of rodeo, right?
It's the thing. It's what every athlete in the rodeo aspires to qualify for. And so when you get to a situation where if you're a bull rider and you have, say, some other rodeo coming up that's between, the new season starting on October 1st and then the December, for the National Finals Rodeo, I don't know if I'd want to be getting on too many bulls because I wouldn't want to run the risk of getting hurt.
I know some of the guys that have like performed at that level and been to the NFR, and I don't know if they were world champs or not, but definitely like top 15 cowboys in the world in each, right? Like just to make it is
huge.
Right. And then think about what you're doing as a sport, especially if you're getting on bucking horses or bulls or something like that. Like the chance of injury is so the chance of injury for you as a photographer is high.
I don't know about that. I mean, if you run some more risky stuff, like I'll do once in a while.
If you're a dumbass and are looking at your camera and still walk in front of an open shoot. But you really have to be on your toes, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like, so these guys and the shape that they're in and what they put their body through is amazing to me. So,
well, gone are the days, I say, of they even talk about it in the old Bart Starr, if you know who I'm referring to, quarterback from Green Bay,
okay.
The old time quarterbacks and football players back when the NFL was first starting, those guys would smoke cigarettes and drink beers during halftime.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, look at the Marlboro Man. Right?
Look at the Marlboro Man. Right. But these guys have their sponsors, their endorsements, and you've got to stay in shape because it's like Doug Champion from Champion Living Fitness, who his brother Richie Champion is also one of the top bareback riders. And Doug, unfortunately, he got banged up and hurt a while back, but he was a bareback rider, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, bareback rider. And he switched when he knew he wasn't going to ride anymore. He got into really taking care of being a coach and trainer, and now he teaches and trains and coaches some of the best riders in rodeo. And I've listened to him tell people, hey, look, your body is your business. You get up in the morning, it's like turning on the lights at the factory, man. You are your own factory. So if you don't take care of your body, you don't have you're not going to be able to run a good business. And that means a lot. I think you're seeing a lot more of that now than the typical,
Yeah, it's not that it's not the rough and tough. It still is, but it's a different mindset, right? And everything. Like, look at, you have organizations like the PBR and stuff like that. These guys are taking this shit super seriously.
It's
just as serious as like a UFC fighter does or something, right? I think, right? At that point?
Yeah. Although Keenan Hayes, who's number one, I think as we speak today, in bareback right now, he's from Hayden, Colorado. So there's a Mountain States circuit guy.
That's awesome. Shout out Colorado.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Keenan's great. I've watched him he's just phenomenal. But it's so funny because when I ran into him at Cheyenne, he's over there kind of doing some stretches. And I see Tim O'Connell, who's just intense. Everybody's got their own character, and I look over at Tim, and Tim's is how he's focused. He's doing all the things that, in fact, Doug might even be coaching him as far as I know in terms of, stretching properly and getting ready, rodeo prepping. And but there's Keenan, he's smoking a dart, like a cigarette or whatever. I'm like, dude, you don't need to be stretching. You're number one in the world. Just light up a cigarette, bro. And I just love it.
It's crazy when people get to that level of natural, because I think that there is a natural athleticism that you're born with, right?
Yeah.
Some people have it. Some people fucking don't. Some people, you're fortunate just to be able to be fucking walking and have a brain that works right nowadays. Mm-hmm. I think like you should be grateful for whatever God gave you, right?
Yeah.
Like, because there's some people out there that have it way worse off, right?
Oh my goodness. There's so much to be grateful for. The fact that I can even sit in here with you two right now, today.
Yeah.
And be able to just have this type of conversation, I'm grateful for. Super grateful.
Well, that's why you're sitting here, man. We like having people in that are like that positive. They understand, right? Like, you can be humbled in a lot of different ways, but like, just be happy for what you do fucking have. Honestly, man, that's huge. So cheers to that.
Cheers, absolutely.
But where I was going with that is like, well, even like I brought up the UFC. Like, look at John Jones early on in his career.
Yeah.
He was fucking racing Ferraris and doing cocaine and all kinds of crazy shit before his fight. Like, he won the belt, and he was like, dude, I was doing cocaine the night before or something. Like, he blatantly said it on the air when he beat Daniel Cormier.
If it helps you win.
So I think it's definitely a mindset, but I would say that is those are the outliers. That is not even the 1%, like 0.0001%, right?
Yeah.
Like, so probably 95% of these guys are taking this shit pretty seriously, yourself included. Like, I know that you train just to fucking be out there. Yeah.
Well, I'm without being overly transparent, the ADHD mind, like mine, needs to be able to be active and exercise whenever they can. It's just good for the mind and the soul.
I got the same thing. I was never diagnosed with it. They never gave me the badass pills that I guess you get for it or whatever, but
I'm sorry, what? I wasn't listening.
I didn't take my medication today. You can snort those, right?
Yeah, you can snort. It's
all right, too far. We're taking it too far.
Yeah,
this is a rodeo crowd.
We're good. We're absolutely good on that. But to just reiterate a little bit about it, if you wanted to go down the road and just like my brother and I 20 plus years ago when we first tried to get on bulls, it was that classic, like that line in the movie 8 Seconds, drinking, loving, fighting cowboys, right? And that was something that I think the image that was put out there for a long time was maybe like that. But these guys are serious. Guys and gals are serious athletes. And when you've got somebody who's helping front the bill to get you down the road, you're going to work your ass off to be able to keep getting that support.
Yeah, or they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, and which, by the way, us photographers could really start to use some endorsements and some sponsorships too. I know there's those of us who have that, but they don't know that we need that. So I guess it's up to me to try to put the word out there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I don't know if you know this, as a photographer, we have to qualify if you want to go to the National Finals Rodeo as well. So
they judge you or something?
So
judge
I pay the
photos?
same annual fee as As a PRCA card-holding member on the photography end, I pay the same amount.
So
every
they
year
only
for my
take
card.
the top 15 photographers?
No,
Sorry
they
to
only
interrupt
take.
you.
I think they only take. I think it's 2 or 3 photographers.
Shit.
Yeah, and
So it's even worse than the Cowboys.
yeah, it's really tight. And
Cream of the crop.
yeah, without getting into the political aspects of it, you do, from a technicality standpoint, you have to shoot at least 8 rodeos, which can consist of 20 performances. Now, what that means is if I shoot one rodeo, that is a full rodeo that has all the events in it, and it goes for 3
Most rodeos, like Cheyenne goes for a month or some shit almost.
10
doesn't
days.
it? 10
Yeah.
days.
10
okay.
yeah, 10
Sorry,
days of
I thought it
rodeos.
was longer than that. But
No, well, it's interesting because it says 10 days, but when I was shooting the final day, I think it was performance 9. So I don't know, something's missing in there. I just didn't do the math on it, but I call it 10 days of rodeo, but I think it's 9 performances. But you have to shoot, in order to even be considered for the National Finals Rodeo as a photographer, at least 8 rodeos, and then 20 performances, if I'm not mistaken. So that means that, say for example, when I was in Idaho, I shot 2 rodeos over there. I did the War Bonnet Roundup in Idaho Falls, and I did the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. Each one of those rodeos had 3 nights of performances. So total, I did 2 rodeos and 6 performances. That would go towards my qualification for the end of year to be voted in, and I think they're making their decision on August 25th. I have no chance, because it's not that I don't have a chance if I didn't, if I put more effort out there, but I'm not going to be able to get that many performances in. I just started out kind of slow this year. I think the first rodeo I did even around here was Evergreen Rodeo. So, but before that, I hadn't really done anything yet. But every week we can look at rodeos that are all going on all over the country. And if somebody's not shooting it, or if I know the people on the rodeo committee, I can get in and try to shoot that. But you really have to almost run your own campaign. Sit down at the end of the season and go, okay, what am I going to do in 2024? And go, do I want to try to make an effort to get into the National Finals Rodeo?
so it's competitive on your guys' end too.
Very competitive. Wow. Very, very competitive. Christopher Thompson, or Click Thompson, who I've mentioned before. In fact, there's probably a picture of the 2 of us up on my Instagram. He was the photographer of the year last year, and he also shot the National Fund. There he is, right there, up on the right there. So,
well, that's your buddy. You're doing it right then. You're surrounding yourself with the people that are fucking making it.
Yeah. He's good stuff, man.
That's
I
awesome.
love that guy, and we.
Well, we got to get you and Click in here at the same time.
Oh,
or
would that be
something.
fun?
That'd be badass.
It would be a lot of fun, and we have a hard time keeping a straight face when we're around each other. And I don't want to do the spoiler alert, but Click has a little bit of something coming from me, because he did something that sort of messed with me up at Cheyenne this year. I just haven't gotten around to posting my reel yet, but Click, you got something coming, buddy. Don't worry about it. You're gonna see it here shortly. So, but yeah, he's badass, and he's classically trained, and by that I mean he knows he's very artistic in what he does, and just creative. He's got such a creative mind, and every now and then he made the decision. I can't remember how long ago it's been, but look at the reflection in those shades right there.
Oh, that's cool.
I know what he's up to. I can tell when I look at his work sometimes. I'm going, all right, that is cool.
That's the crazy thing about the cameras that you guys use too, and like some of the cameras that I have.
Uh-huh.
I've taken photos of my daughter, and the quality is good enough, and the megapixels are good enough that if you zoom in on her eye, you can see me standing there with the camera.
Isn't that cool?
I think it's fucking badass.
It's so cool.
So badass.
Yeah. And then how do you be creative in a world where there's so many of us? Not just rodeo, but just photography in general.
Well, you've been able to do it. Like, Mike, since the last time you've been in here, dude, like, you have tripled or quadrupled. I mean, just, what was that, a year ago? Yeah. It wasn't that long ago, I don't think.
No.
Has it been a year?
Jeremy, we were
at
episode 97.
I know it was in the winter,
It was a year
right?
ago, because it was like 3 weeks later was your birthday, something like that.
Yeah.
Or a month later was your birthday.
Yeah, and we just we celebrated my birthday here on the 7th.
Oh, happy birthday, dude.
Well, thank you. Well,
I didn't get the invite this time. Is it because I didn't
was in
show
Jerome,
up last time?
Idaho.
I'm just fucking with
He
you.
was on the road. He was at Wendy's.
We're celebrating it right now.
well, my gal Jennifer, who goes by Jax, was like, she goes, "Are you know, she's really big on birthdays. She loves celebrating
I
birthdays.
am not. Like
I'm-
I like
I just-
celebrating other people's birthdays, but
Yeah.
my own, I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
No, I don't
want to
want
see
to do
anybody.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So I have no problem being on the road by myself in some, dinky town at some small ass hotel and just going, all right, I'm going to a rodeo tonight. I don't have a problem with that.
That you're the three of us. How many birthdays between all of us have we spent like out of town, away from family,
Yeah.
in a hotel room?
Oh, all the time.
All the
I've
time.
missed, the worst is missing like kids' birthdays or
Yeah.
your loved
Yeah.
ones' birthdays.
Yeah.
That's the hard part
Yeah.
about being on the road.
Well, yeah, we're doing next week a little bit of an early. Yeah, look at that.
That's badass.
See, Click, man, he gets that, and he shoots Reno. Reno is one that I want to do, but unfortunately, Evergreen Rodeo is always going on at the same time. Why am I so committed to my local rodeo?
Well, we love you here in town, man. I
Thank
think
you.
everybody does. I love having guys like you in town, man. Like it's good for me, and
Oh, it's an
I
honor
love
too.
seeing you. And
Yeah.
but I think your work is just as good, Mike. Like,
Thank you.
no disrespect to Click. Like, I know that
No.
he's classically trained, and it's
I
a
can't do
different.
what I can't do
No,
what
it's
Click
different.
does. He brings
It is a different
looking
style, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that you need that diversity,
Yeah.
right, in the photos. And
Look
it's
at
not-
that one though here of Cody and so here's a difference between see this one right here, and remember how we looked at mine of Cody
Oh yeah.
and Dusty Tuckness right there, and it was a similar. Now this is, I can tell you where he's shooting. He was in the shoots for this one versus where I was shooting from the pit, and so it's interesting. Yet look at his right hand, just.
That's how I said bye to my dog when I left, and that's a 2,000-pound bull. I pet Ike on the way out. I go, all right, buddy, I'll be back.
Little
And it's like-
scritches
yeah,
behind
right,
the ear
little
there.
scrunch.
Love you,
Yeah.
buddy. That's what Cody's saying right there. He's going, love you, buddy. But
so
what
wild,
is
man.
what
That is
what
wild.
get? How do you get to the point where, like these guys, this is what they do, right, for a living, and they do it the best at it. But what does it take to get the nerve to be able to know that, hey, you can trust yourself to get that close to this 2,000-pound charging beast and get comfortable
It's
with it?
got to be faith.
I don't know, because I even got nudged in Jerome because we had a bull that just didn't want to leave the arena.
Dude, you're
and
going to get caught. It's
bound to happen.
like, what's the line that the rodeo announcers always say? And
Yeah.
I was always the guy fucking climbing on or about to do something. They're like, it's not a matter of when or
Oh yeah. Yeah.
how bad or
It's
or
just
something.
it's not a.
It's not if it's when.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it
It's
is.
about when, right?
Yeah,
But-
maybe I've had too many concussions, but I can't even remember that.
No, that's always that's always a rule with like motorcycles, right?
No.
Yeah,
No,
that was it too. Exactly, Jeremy. I mean, even when I was in my little Harley phase there, it was just, I'm going, man, is this just gonna? It's bound to happen. When am I going to dump my bike, or when am I going to get
Well, it's not
rear-ended
even
by
that.
somebody
You
at a
got to
red
watch
light?
out for other people. I mean,
That's
shit
more, yeah.
happens, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. You're climbing on the back of untamed animals,
Right.
wild animals.
Which, by the way, have also gotten just as elite as these athletes are.
100%.
I mean,
some
they're
of
on
the
the
best taken care of.
They're fed
animals
better
out
than
there.
most athletes,
Yeah,
and they are elite athletes. Just
it's incredible.
yeah. But
How do they train them for stuff like this?
well, I mean, that's bred into them. I
Right.
talk to people about this all the time with the bucking horses. That, especially, I get a lot of guff from mostly people who,
Drink Bud Light.
but
Sorry, too soon. Too soon.
Too soon.
Okay.
in fact, no, I probably get better support from your Bud Light side of the scene than I would say, like maybe people in Europe who don't have rodeo. And I'll get
They don't have hunting either, so
Yeah.
it's very similar.
well, and I don't know if you call them bots or intentional just provokers, but every now and then I'll get these people on Instagram or my Facebook that'll be animal cruelty. Look at what you do. And then they say that they're the expert and they know it all because they owned a horse or their dad was a farmer or a rancher.
Yeah, but we're not fox hunting here, so.
No, we're not. And by the way, fox hunting is it's tough. It's tough on those horses. Those horses take a beating.
To do that.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah.
It's really cool. I haven't
imagine
I
you
haven't
dressed
done
up
it
like one of those dudes.
No, I wouldn't dress up like
Yeah,
that.
you would. You'd
No,
have to.
hell no.
It's part of the rules.
the tight
I
white
ain't
pants,
fucking
the
doing
black
it.
boots.
Here.
Oh, thank you, sir. But it's cool. I mean, that's a serious sport. But that's the thing. You're never gonna make everybody happy, right? I mean, it's just.
We do it here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So thank you. Way to top it off there. But the I had somebody just the other day. Animal cruelty. I love this one where they go where Jeremy,
Thank you, Jeremy.
where they go where they go I thought that was for you.
Yeah,
You'd think.
Where people will go you're tying up their nuts, right? And I'm going, there has nothing to do with their yam sack. Number one, I would say 60%. I don't know the exact percentage, but I know it's over at least 50%, probably 60% or maybe even 70% of all bucking horses are mares, right?
So I don't have nuts.
No, and I think I mentioned this last time.
Right.
So good luck finding, everything down there. And so the animals, they're athletes. They're trained. They go out and they have a job to do, and they're treated so well. They got 8 seconds at a time, if that.
Listen, most of these people don't even know where their fucking food comes from, or like it. We don't even need to go down that road. I've beat that up before.
No, let's rabbit hole it.
No, but especially online, is this new thing is just being an engagement troll. And that's,
right.
I mean, that's been a thing for a while, but now I think that they're, especially on Twitter, they're getting monetized. So
we get it. I think part of it is people do not like the general public, and I would say this is maybe 10% of them. So I'm not saying the general public, but 10% of the general public does not like to see somebody succeed. So when somebody's doing something badass, they're going to chime in and fucking motherfuck you.
Let you know about it.
Yeah. And I've seen it happen here. Like we get so much positive feedback. It's unreal. But the positive feedback are real people, real accounts. Nobody's showing their face that's negative feedback.
Right.
Now, if they're my friends. And it's constructive criticism.
Yes.
And I got some fucking brutal friends, man, that will tell me, which I'm more grateful for than I am the people that tell me what I want to hear, right?
Oh, my gosh. It's the best if you got somebody who just says, look, I'm going to give it to you
that's
straight.
That's a true friend.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think that you got to hold that value. I mean, Jeremy's one of those. He's like, dude, you really fucked that up tonight.
Yeah, way to go.
Never do that.
I mean, do you remember the first 10 minutes of your mic being really bad?
Yeah. Way to go.
Yeah. Hey, I'm excited. There's see where that cover is right there for Cowboy Lifestyle Magazine?
Yeah, is that yours?
Yeah, the kind folks there. So that made the cover here for the summer edition of the Cowboy Lifestyle Magazine. And rumor has it they're going to be doing in the fall edition a write-up on me, so I'm really excited about that. But that picture right there is actually an evergreen.
Oh, no kidding.
Really?
That horse is looking right at you, too. He's like...
Yeah, well, yeah, we know each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's like, hey, Mike, good to see you, buddy.
It was fun watching you running around the rodeo. It was...
how about the mud?
Did you go this year?
Yeah, we went the last day.
That's awesome.
And just watching him with his...
How badass is that? Like
weapons
right
hung
here in
over
our
his
little town,
shoulder.
we have a pro event.
Yeah, that's been around for a long time.
It's been happening for what? Is this the 80th year?
I'm supposed to know.
Okay. I have to edit this part out.
No,
yeah, you can edit it
I'm
out.
sure that they have a website.
Evergreen Rodeo. Evergreen Rodeo has been
100 years.
No, I don't think it's that many yet.
I don't think it's that many. It's double.
70.
I want to say it's
in the
70s.
70s. Yeah.
You're about to find out.
Let's take a look here.
But what a cool tradition, no matter.
Oh, look. Look, there's one of my pictures right there, too.
Look at that.
Is that the poster this year?
That was she's back in the saddle. That was our theme this year, and that's Brittany Positanazi, who is absolutely
57 years, right?
Yeah.
On
a tear
by 30.
It's been going for 230 years.
That 57 years will fill up the back of a Tacoma tailgate.
23 years.
Oh goodness, yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, we're getting a little local here. It's all right.
It's really cool. I was hoping she would be coming back through town because her and her husband, I want to say Garrett. He's a team roper, and I was like, man, I hope Brittany comes through, because when we were getting ready to choose the picture for this year's poster, they had the theme, She's Back in the Saddle, and they had another barrel racing picture
What a great song.
picked out. Yeah. It's great. And I said, listen, this is who we need to put on here. She is just killing it this year. I mean, she won Calgary, and I think she's number one right now.
This is their website? It's pretty badass.
Yeah, it was a great site.
Yeah, there's some stuff on there.
Dude, so this is the mountain bus, Bobby.
Okay.
It was such a blast.
I knew it was
kids.
something, but I just wanted to make sure they didn't like add a sport or something for.
No, I'm surprised we don't get.
I want to make sure that rodeo is not
man.
getting soft, and this is one of the things I appreciate as much as I am. I guess I'm not a real rodeo fan. Like, I don't go and seek it out. Like I
don't want to sit there and watch a rodeo.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not. I think it's badass. I think the guys that do it are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with that type of person. I think the family values that are there and that Evergreen has kept it a tradition is super important to me.
Yeah.
And as much as the world is kind of going the other way, and I don't know how to say this or even make it come off right, but I really don't fucking care.
Right.
It feels like the rest of the world's kind of bending over on tradition a little bit.
Oh,
and just or throwing it out the window, whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think there's something about, it's not just certain types of heritage, it's all heritages should be celebrated, right? Like,
Yes.
and I feel like rodeo kind of does that, and it is a family. It's something you can take your family to.
Yeah.
Not only is it badass to watch and amazing, like there's so many people that nowadays just conform to whatever's popular. So like you're getting all this hate just for being a rodeo photographer and capturing these incredible moments on, of athletes performing.
Yeah.
That they have no idea. But where's most of the hate coming from? Is it from animal rights activists, or do you even know? I mean, at that point, it's is it people trying to dumb down that culture, or is it more people like animal rights type stuff? Because I think the hunting community takes the same exact hit.
Yeah, they do. Because people don't understand conservation and what it does and how it really does preserve.
None of those people have listened to a biologist.
Right.
None of these people have probably shaken the hand of a large vet animal.
Right.
Or a large animal vet. Is
right.
that right?
Yeah, large animal vet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Shane Baird, who's a local vet. He's based out of Golden, but he's from up here. He's got roots here. He's been doing that. He's been the vet for this rodeo for 230 years and 57 years. Anyway, but he's been doing it for a long time. And Shane's a great large animal vet. I've worked with him even in my previous experience as working in the animal health industry. But to really kind of back up just for a second.
Yeah, sorry, we're going down a dark path.
No,
now.
you're not at all. But what you really hit home on is I tell people there is no other sport with as rich of a tradition and in terms of patriotism and tribute to God. Even if you don't have to be a holy roller to just appreciate what they're
holy roller.
Right? To try to get that out there, right? There's always going to be, they pledge allegiance to the flag at a lot of rodeos. Mm-hmm. They're always going to do the national anthem, right? And I actually have one of one of the pictures that people reach out to me all the time, or one of my prints is called Believe. And it was, I took it back when I was down in Arizona, but it's 5 or 6 bull riders and they're all kneeling. And this was back when the whole kneeling thing was going on with all that bullshit. With the other,
NFL.
Yeah, and that Kaepernick crap or whatever. And I was going, well, we kneel because we're giving, we're kneeling to genuflect and to the Lord and all that without even being, again, pushing the God thing. But
I didn't even realize that because I've seen that firsthand.
Yeah.
Like you're replaying something in my mind.
My mom actually has one of the prints on the wall, and I know there's a couple other people. Oh, my good friends Scott and Beth here in Evergreen. They have it in their bedroom. He bought a massive one of it. He just loves it. And he's a military vet, and he just thought it really caught his attention. And so, but the point is rodeo is so patriotic, and it's so just all these athletes when they're winning, hey, glory to God, thank you, and all that. And you don't have to, they're not shoving that down our throats. You can choose to believe what you want, but it's such a good feeling to know that they're grateful for eating.
That's kind of the Western culture, right?
It is.
It's kind
very
of part
much
of being a cowboy is being respectful,
it's also
tough.
The last vestige of Americana.
It
really is.
What do you got? I don't know, NASCAR and rodeo.
That's probably why Yellowstone did so well, huh?
Well, I think Yellowstone is
no, but
Yellowstone is single-handedly.
People are probably yearning for like any taste of it. Is
100%.
Well, and it's a sexy sport now too. Look at the fashion end of it. I mean,
well, yeah. Look at some of these chefs. Like, go back to.
I'm talking
Mike's.
about like all the different girls that are on there, like that are always.
I didn't notice any of them. That's
when
weird.
you go to Cheyenne, there is not on my site. You're going to see all the women.
Where are they, Mike?
In fact, I do
this
need
site stinks.
This is horrible. There is no action on here.
Hey, there's one. She's
Right.
holding the American flag.
She's holding the American flag,
yeah.
which is probably a 4th of July post. And I do want to put a big message out there, too, a big apologetic message to all the timed event folks that I know and that I do shoot a lot of pictures of, the barrel racers. I do want to start incorporating more of that into my imagery. It's just that a lot of times I've found that I'll get just more action on what people like in my work. That doesn't mean that I don't photograph other things. I have to, right? It's what I do when I'm in the arena. Yeah. But I don't know what to post all the time because
you're doing it right. You're doing it
good. Right.
I love seeing your shit. Every time I see it, I'm like, this is you can scroll through Instagram, and I don't do this very often, and I've been really bad about it lately. But I try to support like my friends, my personal friends, people that I've had on here. But now it's turning into a lot.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so fed up with the way that Instagram and some of these platforms run their things now because I'm getting hit up by so many fucking people. I'm getting followers that are just fucking fake women or whatever, doing whatever. I don't know what they're doing. They're trying to entice me to go look at their OnlyFans or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I can't deal with the noise. And those people are coming up in my feed, which I don't follow any of them. I don't anything like that.
How do you manage it though, too?
So like scrolling, but to bring it back to it, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. But when I am scrolling, or when I have a few minutes, or when I'm, waiting at the airport terminal or whatever, and you got nothing better to do, like that's when I find myself on Instagram, and it's me getting inspired by my friends. I wish there was a way to pay like a membership to Instagram where you didn't get any advertisements.
Right.
Like if it was $5 or $10 or $15 a month,
would you do it?
I would do it because I only want to see my friends.
Right.
I only want to see Mike Pintar videos. I only want to see knives from Half Face Blades.
Yeah.
Because I follow Half Face Blades, I don't want to see every fucking knife maker that's out there.
Right.
I follow them for a reason. That's my friend.
Yeah.
I'm invested in that, and as a friendship more than anything.
Yeah.
Not only do they make an incredible product, but I don't want to see every survival expert because Donnie Dust is my buddy,
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see every UFC fighter and what they're doing because I support certain ones that are real people.
Yeah.
So for me, it's frustrating as fuck now
I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh because when you go to your Instagram and you're on the homepage.
Am I fucking up?
And no, but then you hit the. No, you're not fucking up at all. I was about to say.
Like, fuck, there is an option.
No, my Instagram is so goofy because I will have, and it's seasonal too, right? So if it's ski season like we have out here, if I start surfing and doing stuff like during the winter, I'm going to be pulling up a lot more skiing related stuff, right? But if you were to go to my page on any given day and hit the search, the little, what do you call it? The magnifying glass deal, and you hit that, it's so funny because it'll be, I was telling my brother this the other day. I go, yeah, it's going to be probably a bunch of chicks in bikinis and corgis.
Oh, no shit. Dude, mine is French Bulldogs.
French Bulldogs.
Because I fucking have watched a couple. I love those fucking, that breed of dog. I don't own one. I have blue healers, cattle dogs. Right. Like,
yeah, but why French Bulldogs?
Because I will stop and watch their little dumbasses fucking skateboard or fucking.
It's that forward-facing camera knows what your eyes are doing.
Right.
And they're like,
really?
And then they also know how long you stay on a post.
Oh, they know
so
everything.
It's like this. It's like post. This big schmuck loves French Bulldogs.
Yep.
We're gonna keep delivering that right into him.
Yeah.
Your dopamine, your French Bulldog dopamine.
Now I kind of want a French Bulldog.
Yeah.
I mean, how badass would that be? The blue healers are not nice. Like I can't.
Well, they're possessive. Well, they love their owners. They're super loyal to their owner, but they're always going to look out after you first.
My dog has been great to everybody except for Jeremy.
Would you?
I think she's fucking jealous, dude. She knows, like, Jeremy's my ride or die.
So I
walked in and I was like, "Hey, buddy!" When I was super stoked when Bobby's like, "I got a new dog and puppy."
Yep.
And
she's the only person.
And I rolled in and I'm like, "Hey!" And I'm like, "What the fuck? Get this thing off me!"
Hey,
hilarious.
Yeah, you gotta fend for yourself there. I was corgis before corgis were cool. I really mean that. Everybody has them now.
They're like a short.
They're part of the herding breed. They're the working class dog. They're herders.
They're like a. They're not. I don't want to call them a wiener dog because they're not.
They're just
they're
like
legs short.
Yeah, pull up a corgi. Just go to anything on there, Jeremy. They're the coolest damn thing. Unfortunately, everybody and their mother has them now. But I had them when I lived in Fort Collins, Abigail and Trigger. And I saw them on the Westminster Dog Show, one of those nights you're just flipping channels, and I don't know what the hell to watch. Well, we all love dogs, so let's watch this. And I looked at this, and
oh my god, dude, look at these things.
What the hell are these things? And then I found out that they're part of the herding breed. And well, the queen, what an ass. The Queen of England had them forever.
Okay.
Queen Elizabeth, the late. She had them forever, and they're an English. They're part of that heritage. They're Celtic, or what do you call it? I don't know. Either way, the deal is they're. Yeah, look at that, guys.
Look at the legs on those things.
The legs are less than 4 inches tall. They're probably less.
Fast? Because like my healer is fast.
Very fast. Very fast.
Really?
Yeah, I put my dog Trigger.
They
on
look
some
like a red
ones.
healer a little bit.
Well, and now they're doing that typical crossbreeding. I saw like a blue merled corgi the other day, and I go, well, that's obviously mixed with an Aussie or something like that. Yeah.
Just wait for the corgi doodle.
Yeah, don't even get me started. It just
that's coming down the pike.
Yeah, but the point is here's this dog. So I was always going, I don't want to tell people I have corgis, right? They're gonna be like, what's up with you, And then I ran into a couple of my cowboy buddies, or I'd be out at a horse show or something from, like, say, Ocala, Florida, or I'd be in Texas somewhere at a horse show, and they have them. Everybody, a lot of horse owners have corgis. My son actually has one now, and it's Louis. He has his own page too, long-eared Louis. And Louis they actually have a sticker after him now because so my son's wife, Hannah, they have a shop that sells just really cool, everything from furniture to like country decor and all this. And Louis is like the shop manager. He's always there. People actually come in just to see Louis. And she just posted something earlier this year. It said, well, due to popular demand, we've now created a
awesome.
Louis sticker. So when you're checking out at the counter, you know how there's always a rack of stickers. There's Louis stickers in there, and I have actually Louis now on my camera case. And so
that's super cool, man. I'm all about it. Like,
yeah,
Right.
it's funny because. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
No,
I don't want to interrupt you. So I have been helping Comedy Works out part time.
Okay.
I can't get into the details, but yeah, it's been badass, dude. The people that work down there, it's the best staff in the world, man.
Okay.
Like, they're either aspiring comics or are from the music industry, and now they're working in the comedy industry, but we have a restaurant there that's named after a French bulldog.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if it was just all the traffic that we've been having. The restaurant is called Lucy, and they have 2 locations. This is at the south location. Shout out to all the staff. Fucking amazing people.
Yeah.
But anyways, the mascot for the restaurant and the name of the restaurant is Lucy, and they have incredible food. If you ever have the chance,
I would love
stop
to
down there,
I'll
have
check
dinner.
It out.
It's fucking badass. It's a great spot. Great spot to catch a comedy show. It's top comics are coming through town.
Really?
Yeah,
Gosh,
it's incredible.
that'd be cool.
But but I don't know if that's what started the French bulldog feed. So going back to the feed, I'm like, what the hell? It's like French bulldogs, hot chicks, and now it's even like liking your photos. So just supporting my friends. So I've supported Half Face Blades.
Yeah.
Since the beginning. I supported them before they were even a knife company. Like, it was just an idea, right? And back before, I think maybe there was an Instagram. I don't know, like Facebook type thing. But even now that I like your photos and supporting you, like, and if you make a comment, dude, I'm getting. I don't know that I follow Click, maybe because of you, but like I get other rodeo photographers shit. I get
that's what I was
rodeo
wondering.
Stuff. I
And,
get all kind. It's just wild.
And Jeremy, you just kind of hit on that a little bit ago. Like this stuff is so trained on
If
you.
you stop and look at it, so if it's a French bulldog doing something stupid,
sure.
If you take 1 second and pause on that page,
Yeah.
and even an advertisement, if you think it's something you want to buy, holy shit, dude. Next thing you know, you're fucking buying a TRX or whatever our sponsor is, you know, like.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because we want this, but then we don't want this. But like almost like that Big Brother thing.
But you do want it. That's how they like.
No, but they ruin it. They ruin it, like, because Instagram at the beginning, and I was never on it at the beginning. Like,
no.
I know some people that were on it like 10, 12 years ago, 13, 14, 15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Back when it was big. But even in the last couple of years, and I am so grateful for it. Like, I've made a ton of connections.
Right.
And I can really, like, I would imagine that you're grateful for it too.
Well,
man.
raise your hand if you're on Instagram because you feel like you have to be. I don't have a choice. I really do need it. I depend upon it.
But it's great because I can go to your page and see exactly, I can see all of your work, not exactly what you're doing.
Right.
And I have been very conscious of that. Like, yesterday, me and my buddy Dustin Jacoby went up to the archery range. He's a pro fighter. And like, he was posting stuff like on the fly, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm just a very much like, I was kind of telling him, like, I'm just different with it. Like,
I'm going
to share this. Not even that handy. It's bit me in the ass. People have figured out where I'm at, and not everybody likes me.
Oh, well, there you go.
I flattened his tires. Yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah. But anyways, to bring it back full circle, I think for me personally, there's a 24-hour period where it's like, okay, people don't have to know what I'm doing right this second. Like,
no.
If it's a special moment, it's a special moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. There is the power behind video, right? What do they say? Our attention span is when you do like a story, it's 15 seconds or less. I don't know if that's changed, but then you have your reels. But there is power behind video, which also is the next step that I'm trying to take. We're sitting here right now today, and this is going to be converted into a video, right? It's going to be...
Well, even since you've been in, like, we have a production team now.
Right.
I don't know if I had that. I think we did right when you came in the last time.
I think you were scratching the surface on it.
We were just getting into it.
I was blown away because I didn't even know that you were doing a YouTube on this.
Oh, really?
And then
well, there's a YouTube on your last one.
Yeah,
actually.
there is.
Yeah.
And then I pulled it up once, and we were all sitting around in the living room, and I go, check this out. And, not this again. Because once I got word of it, I would put it on.
Were you happy with the quality? Because
I loved it.
Really?
Yes, other than critiquing myself, we all do.
Oh, it's the worst, dude.
Think about it.
Bobby's never done that. He's never critiqued himself.
All the time.
I bet he's
my own worst critic.
Yeah. Son of a
Like, would you just shut up and listen?
Yeah.
Would you let
It's like
somebody else
Tommy
talk?
Boy just ripping your hair out.
I had a chick.
Has the whole world
Delicate
gone crazy? I think of Walter from Big Lebowski.
Oh, Walter.
That's very much my style.
Yeah. It's so it just to I know we've kind of I don't think we were covering a bunch in terms of
We're all
the
over
social
the fucking
media
place,
aspect, but that's what this is about.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to navigate around everything that I could possibly do.
It has done so much good for us.
Yeah.
It's the reason why we have an audience.
It is.
So I had my 4th episode that we recorded back when this was just a fucking idea. And I was like, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to try this. There was a pandemic happening. The original idea is still it's backburnered right now.
Yeah.
Like the mountainside wasn't even the original idea.
Oh.
Which is crazy. And I'll tell you more about that later. I think I've spoke about this a couple times. But I reached out to some people in the outdoor community, and I wanted to raise some awareness. So this was like the second idea, but like I couldn't get the first idea going because the pandemic hit. But I had all the equipment.
Right.
So I reached out to, I had Colorado Parks and Wildlife set up. And this was like right at the beginning of it.
So just to help me out a little bit here. You were going, I want to create a podcast.
So the original idea is I was on the road all the time. Yeah. I work for Rock and Roll Superstars.
Mm-hmm.
I do their live production, and I don't deal with the artist all that much. I deal with the artist demands. So when they show up to play a show, like somebody like the Foo Fighters,
right?
There's an expected level. When you see the Foo Fighters, you should expect to see a show, right? Like it's not just 5 dudes walking out onto stage. There's a video wall that's involved. There's a lighting rig. There's a light show. There's a certain type of stage. There's certain dimensions. There's stuff that they're used to. There's certain things that they need in their dressing room. There's certain provisions that they're going to bring with them. And we're talking semi-loads of stuff.
There's audience expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the most important
when
part.
you get to that level,
yeah,
just like you and I are climbing certain levels, there's an expectation when somebody reaches out to you from the PRCA, I would imagine, is like, hey, Mike, we want you to come shoot this rodeo.
Yeah.
That's why you're there. That's why you hold that card. There's a level of expectation.
Says professional rodeo,
and you better not fuck it up.
No, don't fuck it up because you're part of the production. I sit in on the production meetings.
Right.
And always try to make sure that I know what's going to happen at any given point in time. I didn't do that at first. And then I started realizing, I'm going, I need to know these things because it's my responsibility, especially if at any point in time you're going to be on camera or you're going to be in part of the production because you're just simply in that setting. And it's your responsibility to do that. So when you're talking about...
And you're expected to capture that badass magazine cover every time.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure. I've been there.
Yeah.
Like when the Deftones... Like I've been a rock and roll photographer.
Deftones, yes.
So like when they walk on stage, if I don't catch certain aspects of that or portray their show or catch the lighting rig or the height of the performance...
What's that feel like? leading up to knowing you got to get this.
It's a lot of weight, man.
It's a lot of weight.
So even like I've done some stuff outside of it, and to take it even to the next level, like there's certain times where you're shooting something. Get in there. Yeah.
No, you.
You're shooting certain things that cost so much money. The production is so large that you are giving basically a script of what you want, what you should shoot. Yeah. Sometimes it's images. Sometimes it's renderings of what they want to capture.
I just heard the other day that Taylor Swift's concerts affected the GDP.
Oh, 100%.
That chick's amazing. To think that...
But it's not only Taylor Swift. I'm sorry to say this. Like no disrespect, dude. I have a ton of friends that are out with her right now.
Right.
It's whoever the hottest star is. That is a huge industry that employs so many fucking people.
She could have fallen off the face of the earth a long time ago.
It doesn't matter.
She stayed relevant.
Dude, there'll be another one next year.
There will always be that, but she's a mainstay.
I'm not discrediting her.
Right.
But there's always going to be a pop star. There's always going to be a metal band. There's always going to be...
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that people see the bigger picture, and that employs so many people.
Okay.
Like Rodeo, right? It's focused on the bull riders.
Yeah.
Look at all the other people that it employs.
Here today, gone tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
If you're not... All the more reason why, just to circle back again, you've got to be on your A game all the time as much as you can. And it's so easy to get caught in that trap of all the BS and the limelight. I couldn't imagine that.
Or to think that you're better than you are.
Right.
You know, once people get comfortable, like you should never get comfortable. You should always be growing.
Right. And it doesn't mean you have to live a paranoid life. Just stick to what got you there. And continue to adapt and roll with the punches, which kind of encompasses what we're talking about. Yeah, I don't want to be on Instagram all the time. In fact, you get a report every week, right? I don't know if for those of us who have the business sites, it'll tell you, hey, you've been on here this much. This is your usage. I love insights. In fact, I go to it. Do you do that where you can click on there and check insights and you can see where you're at?
It's so important for you as a photographer.
And the meta business is really important for me too, the meta business page. So when I get a chance to open up my computer, not my cell phone, but I can open up that and go, okay, where is traffic driving? I know what I need to do. Do I do it? Not even barely even scratching the surface.
I didn't mean to shitbag on it either, man. Like,
I don't think you did.
So what, to bring it back first, full circle before I forget, it's the reason we have a fucking podcast that's successful right now. So my buddy Mark Montoya, he's one of the most prominent coaches in the UFC, was gracious enough to give me a fucking chance and totally butcher my interview with him back when it was an interview.
You think you butchered it, but you're here doing what you're doing.
Exactly, but he gave me a chance, like he said yes. Like he came and sat across from me. The studio was on the other side of that wall, and it was a fucking closet, dude. Like it was so tiny. It was awesome. It was cool. I would love to go back to that moment, but boy, was I horrible at what I did. Like I've learned a lot, right? Like I'm 140 episodes later.
Yeah.
Now. But Mark said yes, and he came in, and he was Mark, and he's a professional. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but literally just him coming on, and then in that episode we talked about Cameron Haynes for a minute, right? And he's a big part of the reason why we have an audience. I had mentioned something about like he was getting a ton of hate at the moment or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if you're one of the fucking 10 people listening to this thing and you don't like Cameron Haynes, just turn this podcast off right now.
Yeah.
And Cam reshared that, and it just spiraled out of control, man. Like all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, look what happened. It happened overnight.
I mean, can you imagine like what it took for Cameron Hanes? Like, for those of you who don't know, we can always cover more of that. But Cameron, to give up his 9-to-5 job that he was doing, I mean, when you look at how hard he worked to strictly hunt, here's a guy who goes out and runs ultra marathons in the mountains, right? To train for elk hunting, but he's always placing in these marathons. Now he's got the run, lift, shoot. I just the stuff is amazing.
Amazing production.
And the
He
guy
did
is-
it right. He
yeah.
sat back, he watched, he took it in, and it's incredible, man.
He's unbelievable.
He's such a good job.
I remember going up to him back when I was really getting into bow hunting, and I was trying to do my solo hunts, and he wrote backcountry bow hunting. And my fear at that time was, especially because this is before you had sat, communications, or tracking devices, like to tell you everybody where you were in case you ran into some issues. And I just said, "Hey, Cameron, what's your thoughts on mountain lions? You barely scratched the surface on it in your book." And he goes, "Michael, the biggest thing that you need to worry about is rolling an ankle or breaking an ankle or getting hurt out there. The same way like a cat doesn't want to break off one of its canines. They can't. They are very strategic in what they do, and you need to be the same way." And and that's all I needed. And I went back out.
He's so right too, man.
He's
Those
spot
things
on.
are so elusive, dude. They don't want to fucking be around people.
You
or,
would,
like,
they're there every time, but when you can sleep at night, when you can get to that point where you're out in your bivy sack, I went from hauling a tent, like a 2-person tent, to a 1-man tent, to eventually a bivy sack, and just sleeping out in that, and
I challenge anybody to go find one in the wilderness without dogs or without trail cameras.
Yeah.
I challenge you. Good fucking luck, dude.
Mike,
Good luck. Go capture a photo of one.
I don't
Do it.
I don't walk from my house to my garage without a pistol. Mike's been in my house.
I know where you live.
Every time I walk out of my garage, I'm like, this motherfucker's about to jump on me.
But Jerry knows everything about Russia. He knows everything about
everything about.
Yeah, I know it's ridiculous.
So my son, again, he's a badass hunter. This kid is he's unbelievable. I'm in trouble with him right now. And I say that in all kindness to McCaffrey, but he even sent me a message today. He goes, "Did you get that damn bow out?" Because that's all I was
Let's
into.
go, Mike. You've hit me up a couple times. Let's go.
I got it. I honestly, what do you need? Here's what happened. I decided to go back to school years ago. It's been over how many years now, but I went back and did my master's, did my MBA, and I just put hunting aside, and I never got back into it. But I love it and appreciate it. I still got the stories. I can get together with my old hunting buddies, mostly
it's shit that you never forget.
Yeah. And I want to bring that back.
I
want to do it too.
Stories you never forget.
Well, at my age too. I mean, it's like we said in the beginning of this of our talk tonight. Thank God I'm able to even put these own 2 legs underneath me. And while I still got them, I would rather train again to go out and start hunting again, because he sent me a message this morning, and by he, I mean my son again.
Advantage of that.
My son said, in 3 weeks from now, we would be we should be thinking about elk hunting. So let's plan for a 2024 trip. That is my job. That is what I want to do, because there's nothing that would make me smile. And yeah, I guess I'm on record now. That would make me more happy to see my son stick a sweet ass elk up in the in the mountains out here or wherever we decide to go. But the point is he's worked his ass off for it. And back home he's got his own little food plots that he does on the land that he hunts, and he'll go out on his own, and is he
a whitetail hunter? Or?
Yeah, it's whitetail what he's hunting. But he sent me a picture.
His name's McCaffrey.
Yeah, his first name's McCaffrey. Not a shout out to the Ed McCaffrey that we all know out here in Denver, but yeah, first name McCaffrey. When his mother and I named him McCaffrey back in the day, pardon my French, but I'm like, this is gonna go over like a fart in church. That's like a last name. How's this gonna work? And it just sort of stuck. And I said, okay, let's go with it. So his first name's always been McCaffrey, and he's been Mac or Calf or all that. But yeah, he's just such a good kid. I'm so damn proud of him. And like most parents, we're proud of our kids. He's old school, old roots. We'll sit together and play guitar, and he's
Dude,
just.
You couldn't be. To let you know right now, you could not be in a better spot in the world, I think, to be trained for archery hunting than right here.
I know.
Sitting right here.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people that I have that are friends that have been on the podcast, from Olympic archery coaches to professional guides to, callers, like, it's incredible, man. The amount of resource, and then the training ground, I think, is the most important.
You have that range, don't you?
So I took my buddy up to American Bowman, and shout out to Luke Cadillo, and shout out to Scott Endrich, my buddies, and shout out to everybody at American Bowman that maintains that place and keeps it running. But I took my buddy, Dustin Jacoby. He's a UFC fighter. He was our last episode. Awesome guy, trains all the time, doesn't really get a chance to shoot his bow because his life is fucking on the mat, right? Like, it's getting ready for fights. And we took him up there and we had him shooting at 100 yards, and like, you can do that up there.
Yeah.
And then, not to mention, like, you're hiking through just the most incredible country, well maintained. It's 3D targets. You're shooting up and downhill. You can't go do that at an archery range. You can't stand there and just throw arrows at 20 yards. And like, dude, just hit me up. I know people that can set your bow up.
Yeah.
Even if it's an old bow, like, everybody thinks they need the new fucking Hoyt or the new.
No.
Dude,
obviously McCaffrey, my son again. He's a Matthews guy. I mean,
Me
he lived in Sparta, Wisconsin, man. I mean, where they were made.
Yeah.
And so he's a Matthews guy. I got my Bowtech that was at that time.
Listen, they're all good.
That thing is solid
not really. If you pick a main manufacturer,
yeah,
the technology has come so far.
I'm
even
a little
the
antiquated,
old technology,
but yeah,
as long as you have proper equipment, like a good string,
my old Spot Hog on there.
Really?
Yeah, I got a 7-pin Spot Hog. I put my own fiber optics into it, and
dude, let's just go shoot. You don't have to have the nicest fucking bow.
No.
Like, let's just go.
Yeah. Even my kid said, "Hey, can you send me a picture of your bow so that I can just get some tight macro shots on the strings?" Because he works at a bow shop now too.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he's just so dialed in.
Dude, that's an art in itself.
Oh,
like, just being a bow tech.
I loved fletching my own arrows. Believe me, you guys, I was really into this stuff, and that's the thing. It's not just, if you want to go out and shoot, that's great, but when you want to start dialing in hunting, it stretches beyond the limits of the monetary end of it. If you're going to go out and backcountry bow hunting,
if you're going to take the effort to get the tag,
you got to
spend the money, go do it right, man. You're going to be so disappointed if you wound it. Wounding an animal is horrible. The worst feeling in the world. And I don't give a fuck if you're Cameron Haynes, John Dudley, Aaron Snyder, Tom Clum.
There's a great name.
If anybody tells you they haven't never wounded an animal in their life, they're a goddamn liar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it happens, man. Shit happens.
I hit a deer once, way back in the day, when I lived up in Fort Collins, and I would hunt up in Red Feather Lakes area, and it was an evening shot uphill, and I shouldered him. I know I did, because I think my buddy at that time recorded it, but I couldn't find that deer. And I went all the way back to Fort Collins that night, and I got up extra early, like about 3 or 4 in the morning the next day, and drove back up there because I hated the thought of that deer being out there and me not being able to follow through on the hunt. And it was crazy because I actually, when I was going in and searching for that deer, I had opportunities to shoot another deer. And I'm going, you can't. You got to find the one that you shot.
Yeah,
at.
I've been in that same position. It's like, no, you don't fucking. It was crazy. Like, to tell you a story, very similar story. I shot a buck. I shot it at last light on property that we hunt on all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure that I hit it good. I found my arrow. It was good blood. Like, there's a difference in blood when you shoot something. Like, if it's bubbly, bright red blood, it's vitals. Right?
Yeah.
And so I shot this deer. It was a little buck. It wasn't huge. I think it was a 4x4, or it might even been a 3x3. I don't remember. This is a few years ago. And I was just like, it's better just to let it lie. I'll come back first thing, first light, and I'll find it. Where I hunt, it's a ton of overgrowth, like acorn or shrub oak.
Right.
So they'll like bury themselves in there. When they've been hit, they go and seek shelter.
Yeah.
To die. And so I just figured, man, it's pitch black, no full moon. I'm out here in headlamps. I'm seeing good blood. I'll mark last blood and I'll come back. Dude, I never found that deer. But the entire day, I spent literally probably 16 hours looking for this deer.
Yeah.
Would go back, track blood, circle, went on every part of probably 50 acres. Like, I think I hiked 20 miles that day.
Yeah.
Looking for this little buck. And solely the reason I was doing it was for the meat, but this was just the ethics behind it, right?
You hit the nail on the head there. The ethics, the moral, the morality of it.
I jumped a buck that was 7 times the size of this buck.
Here we
19 times, and was 20 yards from him.
Yeah,
and I was carrying my bow with me.
Yeah,
because if it's a wounded animal, you don't want the thing to suffer.
Right.
I'm not. Also, where I hunt, you're not going to put it down with a pistol, or it's illegal to actually put it down with a pistol if you're having archery tag. And this was during
they
archery
say that,
season.
yeah. Although I always carry a pistol with me.
Yeah, I do for.
I don't carry. No, I don't even
protection,
carry it for that. I carry it because people kill people. I hate the
Dude,
thought
I think
of there's nut jobs out there.
I think you're 100% right. I think that there's more chances, especially in this state, maybe not so much in Montana or something, is like a human interaction.
I'm not being paranoid. I just I liked having a pistol with me, and I started out with a big old 44 Ruger Vaquero wheel gun. I'm going, this is too damn heavy, so I switched to like a semi, like Springfield XD.
It's crazy. My buddy Caleb Brewer there that was just on Danger Close, Jack Carr's podcast.
Yeah, which
is an excellent podcast if you haven't listened to it. But Caleb's been on here. But he's down in Tucson, Arizona, and he's a big backcountry bow hunter.
That's
Stick Sniper Archery. Go check them out. Caleb's an amazing person. He's a former Green Beret, but he carries a pistol. And the reason why he carries it, and I didn't realize this until I listened to him and Jack on Danger Close, is he's down on the border.
Well, think about where he hunts.
Across the border.
So dangerous.
Yeah.
So he's not carrying a 10 millimeter. Like I carry a 10 millimeter because I'm dealing with big bears.
That's a cool gun. Yeah.
But he's carrying a Glock 40 or a 357 or, a human round.
My 40 cal goes with me.
Yeah.
When I decide to go lighter, but think about the country where he's at. So I had mentioned living in Arizona. I was up north in Cave Creek for 3 years, but one of my good buddies, Josh Wilson, is from Tucson, and I got to spend a lot of time down there. In fact, became very fond of the culture down there. We would go to Sonoyta Rodeo in Sonoyta, Arizona, which is just west of Fort Huachuca. And I remember the first time I'd be down in that area, and I'd go, what's that white blimp just floating there? And they go, well, that's
cocaine.
Yeah, that's in the air. It's just a big blimp of cocaine. It's for everybody. It's a dispensary. Santa Claus. That's an Arizona dispensary. So the point is, but that's monitoring the border. So Border Patrol was huge down there, and so during Sonoyta Rodeo, you almost do like a siesta. Like we would just take off, grab a bunch of beers, hop in the truck, and just go and drive. And the movie with John Wayne McClintock, I think it was the movie. The old house where they filmed all that is right there. It's right on the border. And I remember Josh going, check this out.
Like the original John Wayne movie?
Yeah. You can see.
And they've remade it, right? A couple times.
I think so. I think so. I just remember him going, hey, let's hop in the truck, and we're just barreling south of this rodeo, and within minutes your phone is going, welcome to Mexico. But there was no border, there was no fence, there was no wall, and the McClintock house was right there. And it was awesome. And I go, man, this is on the record, but off the record, so to say. You're sitting there just having beers and
do we need
cruising
to edit
around.
This out?
No, we don't need to edit this out. But it was so cool because we would go by Border Patrol guys, and they're like happy to see you out there. Because we're just hauling ass and just like hanging out and checking out cool shit. But you're vulnerable at any point in time. Now I don't know enough to know about how the cartel functions, but you know that there's things happening all the time out there.
Dude, look on that screen.
Oh, there you go. Our men believe to be, yeah. And
no, it's crazy. That's honestly how that's how I got to know special operators.
Yeah.
Was back when I was working for Monster Energy. They had recently purchased the Baja 1000 or were the main title sponsor of it or something.
Yeah.
And we had to bring all the shit down to Mexico. And I was like,
that's
you needed a
crazy
security force, right?
Yeah.
So they hired Navy SEALs to fucking take us across the border.
Yeah.
And be our security detail.
Yeah.
Like,
they have
same
to
with
be.
rock and roll. Yeah. Like, some of these divas and stuff, man, like the death threats that they get, like, I can't even imagine what Taylor Swift's security detail is like right now.
Oh, could you? I mean, did you? There was
like, I used to work for Rihanna, Madonna, like.
Sure. So
I know, man. Like,
it's absolutely nuts.
And the dudes that protect those people are some of the coolest motherfuckers you will ever meet. And some of the scariest all at the same time.
Yeah, because you know what they're capable of or what they've been there, done that kind of thing.
It's not Kevin Costner, I'll tell you that.
No, or wasn't what was Clint Eastwood in the Line of Fire kind of thing too?
Yeah, they're kind of more like
Secret
Patrick
Service.
Swayze, but cooler.
Yeah,
but I think you and I talked about this before. Is that when you encounter Secret Service guys, they've got kind of like this. Because you're a normal guy.
Yeah, because you've done presidential stuff, and so
like,
have I.
When you show up, you're just like a normal dude, and they're obviously elite dudes. So when they can dumb down their rhetoric and kind of feel like they're drawing you into the team, you just sit there and you're like, I'll let you know about anything that I see that's weird. Like they just
but that's part of their plan.
Oh no, it totally is.
I love how you roll your eyes.
No. It totally is, and you just like their psychology of it. It's amazing.
The weirdest thing that I have ever done was Obama's Democratic National Convention. It was actually right here in Denver.
I remember
and
that.
We were the staging provider for it. And we built the company that I work for, shout out to All Access. They built the entire thing. They hired the Super Bowl halftime. I was doing a bunch of Super Bowl halftime shit then. The designer to do the Democratic National Convention.
What year was that again?
God, I don't even fucking know. 2008 or 9?
Has it been that long?
7 for the.
Jeremy, you might have to look it up.
I mean, the reason.
Pull up some video. Let's see this shit, dude. Like
the reason I even ask is because we've never gotten lax since 9/11 about what
we
the
are now.
But I feel like we are, right? That's where I'm going with this.
I feel like all this diversion
Or
bullshit,
is
the
there
UFOs, the fucking...
The diversion.
Maybe I've had too much tequila, but the
diversion.
Bud Light can, the fucking... I
They
mean,
want to
it's
take our attention to
everywhere.
something else. And we are constantly at a threat. And
I just think, like...
but I don't
I
want to
don't
be that
mean to get
paranoid guy running
political
around.
on this podcast. This is the mountainside, and this was more to showcase you, Mike.
Right.
But we're going down this road, and I'm going to voice my opinion. The Ukraine-Russian war that's happening right now, I think is a diversion, man. Like, I hate to say it, like, and it's dividing our own country, which I don't care what side you're on. I don't care if you have a Ukrainian flag on your front porch or if you're the guy that's still flying the American flag.
Right.
Like, look into the history. Look at the facts. This is the same exact thing. You want to bring it back to nature. You want to bring it back to natural selection. You want to bring it back to I'm going real deep here. But, like, you bring it back. Yeah, just pause this for a second. I'll tell you all about this shit. I'll tell you all the secret shit.
This is when he dropped, and everyone was like, "This guy exists? Holy shit!" Like, this was like a
Dude, it
mind
was
blower to
huge.
everybody.
But I'm sorry, going back to this, I don't want to break my train of thought because we've dove in all over the place. We started with rodeo and photography, and look where
It's
we're
still
at,
there.
dude.
It's still looming.
I love you, Mike, dude.
I
Thanks
love
for
you
being
too.
here, dude.
You guys are the best.
This is why you're here. But yeah, I just feel like it just feels funky right now. It doesn't feel like America.
No.
Like, it feels like a lot of diversion, like a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Whether you're listening to Joe Rogan, who I love,
Yeah.
or whether you're listening to CNN or Fox News, it's like everything is smoke and mirrors. And thank God for Joe Rogan, because I feel like he has been the most honest opinion, the unbiased, the whatever. But, like,
Greatest listener too.
what
He
I'm
is
getting
such a
down
great
to is,
listener.
like, there's so many issues that we have at home that we need to look at ourselves, well, on an individual basis or a country basis or an American basis,
Yeah.
before we start sticking our noses in everybody else's fucking problems.
That's not profitable, but
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy, you're right.
100%.
I'm sorry, but like introspective
Yeah.
shit
You
is
want to
not
get down to
profitable.
it? Corporations, you know?
So I had mentioned when I came into the studio tonight about that book that I'm listening to by Tom O'Neill called Chaos, and this if you get a chance, check it out. I don't care whether you want to read it or listen to it. It gets pretty deep. And I'm still at that compelling point where I'm going, what am I going to find out at the end of this factual information? But to back up, we're talking about Evergreen. This is where we're at, right? Evergreen, Colorado. And I live, in all transparency, on Upper Bear Creek, and I'm cruising down here. I've got to be here, for this, and I'm going down the road, and I see a gentleman with his thumb out. You don't see hitchhikers on Upper Bear. Yeah,
Upper
check it
Bear
out.
Creek
Yeah,
Road?
yeah, check it out.
Dude, this guy had to be on mushrooms.
No, not at all. It's
You should have picked him up.
I did. I picked him up.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's Phil. It's my.
This is awesome.
Yeah, he's a local, and Phil. But if those of you who don't know it, and Phil, I can drop your name on here. You probably don't even listen to podcasts, but I saw him, and I went right past him, and I go. And I turn around and I go, and I roll down my driver's side window. I said, "Hang on, Phil, I got to do a U-turn. I'll come get you." And he probably still doesn't recognize me. And I pull up, and Phil's like, "Holy cow! Hey, Mike, what's going on?" And he goes, "There's so many people that drive by me. The newbies who don't know me probably think I'm some weirdo." And I go, "No, Phil, I'm a local, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, you know me." And Phil. for those of you, obviously, you won't know him, but he's an old Vietnam vet, and he's badass. He's seen his fair share of shit.
Was it the dude when I came to your
Yes,
art show
yeah,
that we
Phil
sat
was
with
sitting
and had a beer?
outside. It was Phil.
That
yeah.
guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out Phil.
Yeah, and the only reason why, by the way, everybody.
But I know him. I knew him as
you
a
met
kid.
him. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay,
Phil.
sorry. But
So Phil.
Shit, I
we're
didn't
getting
even
really
know this
small
guy,
town.
man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. And Phil. So the only reason
Phil
he was
fucked
even.
some shit up, dude.
Oh, he's seen his fair share of shit, you guys, and he's badass. And I was explaining to him this book that I'm listening to, and he was saying the same thing. He goes, "We're in a weird funk right now," and the only reason, by the way, he was thumbing for a ride was because he had new tires put on a truck that he bought. I think like he somehow got like through his son. He has a he has a 110% badass vehicle at his house, but he was thumbing a ride to get down to
he's
the
not
lake over here where his truck was parked after
He's
he
not
had tires
camping
put
in
on.
the woods.
No, he's not camping in the woods. He has an
No,
awesome
he's just
house
an
and
old
everything.
school dude.
No, and he goes, and the sun's going down, and I'm going, well, people aren't going to be able to see him very well in about another 10 seconds. So I go, all right, I'm going to pick him up. And he was like, hey, Mike, what's up? And we got into this very similar conversation to what we're having right now in the
Really?
10 minutes it was going to take for me to get to town.
Isn't it crazy how shit like this
And
happens?
he goes, we're in a funk. And he goes, and I was explaining what I'm listening to. This stuff has existed forever. We've always, I mean, there's still questions.
That's just it, dude. Think about the 1960s.
Yeah.
How much the American public was lied to. Look where we're at now.
That's the weird thing that's happening right now.
We're
is
doing the same thing.
Well, there's that, but also the mask has been ripped off, and everybody's questioning everything. I mean, even anybody who's got access to the internet's kind of like scratching their head. Like,
What do you believe?
even the most normal person of normal person,
Well,
who's not even interested in getting deep into anything, is scratching their head, going, "Well, that's counter to what I heard like 5 years ago." Like, and then the loss of trust in every institution. It's like dominoes falling, and it's bad for everything, you know.
Well, really, we're screwing ourselves because I said it a little bit different a few minutes ago. But we really are, because we have instant gratification, instant media. You can literally, anything that you want to hear, any opinion, medical opinion, if you Google search it, you're going to find exactly what you're looking for.
Isn't it going to
Because
suck?
everybody has an opinion now.
Right.
Everyone does, right?
Isn't it going to suck when
in the day.
the last utility that fails is Instagram? The water's gone, the food's gone, but like Instagram's still there, and you're scrolling through it. It's like
I love how you call it a utility. Is it truly a utility? Yeah, by the way we're talking about it.
Kind of.
I mean, it's built this platform. It's probably a big reason why you have some of the success that you do.
It's not even it's not even a question.
No, but it's the internet.
It's not even a question.
The internet is the last utility to fail.
I
That
mean,
would be
Bobby,
such a
Jeremy,
bummer.
think about this. I think right now I am less than 50 south of 20,000 followers. Now, granted,
Dude, I think when you came in here, it was like 3,000 or something.
something like that, right?
Yeah. Smoking us, dude. Let's
Well, it's not even about, but here's the thing. Why am I even going? Oh, I've got this. Well, because there's power behind that. There is, that's why they came up with this quote unquote influencer sort of thing. I get asked to do certain things now that I probably didn't a year ago. Where do I go with it? I don't know. What I do know that I want to do is grow my art, so to say. Not only just photography for what it stands for, but also I want to generate sales, because right now I don't have a livelihood that is on a salary basis like I did for the last 20 years. This is the first time in my life I've actually been at the crossroads where I got to go, can I take photography to full time? like your Click Thompsons, like your other photographers out there.
You've made that commitment already, Mike.
But I never admitted to anybody until coming back from my trip in Guatemala last year, November, where my good buddy Rob Hendrickson said, Mike, when are you going to admit to people that you're a photographer? When are you going to say, hey, this is what I'm capable of. This is what you can do. And so it takes things like these platforms like Instagram to go, yeah, I can do this. I can give
But it's more than that. It's on you, Mike.
It is.
It's holding yourself accountable.
That's the best way to put it.
It's holding yourself accountable. Like, that's the only reason I've had any success at this. Anybody can start something.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they can't, and I encourage them to do it. And if it doesn't work for you, just fucking quit. Like, there's no shame in that either.
Fail is a beautiful thing because that's learning.
But don't ever leave that question in the back of your mind. Like, should I have done this? Like, if you're thinking about it, do it, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, get on the horse and nod your head.
It felt really
to bring it back
good
to a
be
rodeo
on the
analogy,
road last week,
right?
yeah.
Like, that's where you love it. That's where you thrive. It shows in your work. You're passionate about what you do. Like, I don't think that there's anything that I envision Michael Pintar doing other than taking badass photos of people doing incredible shit and freeze framing it in the best light to portray it in a moment. Like, that shit happens so fast. When you go to a rodeo and you see a bull come out of a chute and a cowboy on it, he might only be on that bull for a half a second. Dude, you can freeze frame 10,000ths of a second if you want to, if the light's good enough.
Right.
If you're in the right setting, you are capturing that moment at the perfect time where the cowboy can appreciate it, the stock contractor, the rodeo, the magazine cover, yourself, anybody else that appreciates your artwork on Instagram, other photographers. Like, there's power in one finger press of a camera.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool, man. That's amazing to me. That's how I look at it. Like, anytime I scroll through one of your photos, I'm like, and dude, to me, what's crazy is I know how many photos are probably out there that are underlying. You chose that.
Yeah.
You chose it to go to post-production. And I know that you're not a huge post-production guy.
Well,
like,
I'm
you're
the
not
worst post-production guy.
Well, that's just it.
Because I take so long to do my work.
I love that because
so long.
But hear me out right here. You chose that photo because it is a good photo, and you think that it's worthy to put your name on it, your signature, your autograph, and put it up, and literally for somebody to hang it on their wall, or you to put it on your Instagram, or this is worthy of a magazine cover. That is your standard, right? Like, when you're choosing these photos, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like, when you choose that and you say that, hey, A, this is good enough. B, this is how I want my work portrayed. And C, this is my legacy. Like, I don't know if you go that deep, but I do.
I have to.
Like, I think about my kids. Like, when I'm
on the back end of my life now, man. Yeah. So I have to think about a legacy.
That's truly why on this podcast, I've genuinely tried to be myself. Like, I don't care if I curse. I don't care if I screw up on the ums or the filler words or whatever. It's like, I'm truly trying to be myself. So after I'm dead, my kids can go back and listen. This is something that's archived.
How cool is that?
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, when you put your stamp on that work is what I'm to bring it back full circle, and I'm diving off all over the fucking place.
Not really. You're on path here.
But to bring it back full circle, I think it's so cool. Like, that is literally one click of a camera
Yeah.
You chose it. You put it up. You maybe did a little bit of light correction or color correction or whatever.
Yeah.
Minimal. You put your own spin on it, and look what it's turned into. It's wall art that's hanging in here, Mike.
Yeah.
I fucking love that photo.
Oh,
Like the bison means so
shaking the
much to
dust
me,
off.
man. Like,
yeah.
and every time I walk out of the studio, what's the first thing that you see?
Isn't that fun?
I think it's cool. I think it's ironic.
Thank you for
that-
hanging that in here.
I think it's ironic, like, to take it even deeper. When you walk out of the studio, every guest that walks out of the studio, the reason why I put it right there,
yeah.
that's the first thing that they see.
Yeah.
And I want them to feel like, man, I had a good time. We got not deeper than I wanted to get, but like, I'm shaking the dust off. We had a good fucking time.
Right,
dude.
right. That's what it's about.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck everything else in life. I hope that they had a moment in here that made them realize who they are more as a person, because there's a different level of cognitive function when you put these headphones on and you sit down and you have a moment and you silence your phone, that I think that everybody's missing right now.
Right.
And I think there's only two places that you can get it. You can get it in the backcountry, or you can get it having a conversation like this. Like,
This is huge. It's a big deal because of the fact that we are setting aside the inclination to have to pick up the phone and look at something right now. We're just having a conversation, and we're covering everything. The gamut is huge, right? Like, from everything that we're trying to do. It's like shaking the dust off. You talk about that picture.
I love that photo, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, and absolutely. And shout out to JR Yannicone and the Bistro del Lago, the local restaurant here.
They're
that is
awesome down there, man. I loved your show the other night. That was so rad.
Thank you. And for them to, well, for JR to say, hey, Mike, let's bring some of your art in here. And again, my gal Jennifer for supporting me and helping me be able to put up that art up in there, because there's no doubt about it. There's costs involved when it comes to putting your stuff up. You got to buy it. You got to
walking distance from here. We might have to go borrow a bottle of tequila. Just kidding. Sorry.
So the point is we had to come
They're
up with.
about to get even closer.
Well, we had to decide what art to put up, and one of them was definitely going to be shaking the dust off. And I remember a friend of mine that I've known for a long time when I first moved to Colorado, Greg Howard, who had managed Phantom Canyon Brewery down in Colorado Springs, and Greg's a great guy. And he told me that when this picture of shaking the dust off came out, and I finally made it public in right after, like during or right after COVID, and he said he saw that, and he saw what I wrote about it, and it was called Shaking the Dust Off because I mean, anybody who's worked in the restaurant industry has taken so much shit from the crap
Any public
about the
service
bullshit
industry. I'm
COVID
sorry,
crap. It was just such bullshit what they got handed to them. And I posted that not thinking about that at the time, but when I thought about it, here's somebody who came to me and said, he goes, Mike, I looked at that picture and I started crying. And he said, how do I can you make it available for print? And that's when I did that. And I caught that picture in Yellowstone, patiently waiting. Once I just saw this big bull just sitting there in this white volcanic-y looking sand stuff.
You gotta hold this photo up while we're talking about it.
Yeah. And we'll come back to that one, by the way. Oh, my gosh. These guys are great. I love the fact that they supported my picture.
Oh, no, I thought we were talking about that one.
I don't even know where it's at. It might be on my website. It's probably not even in Instagram.
No?
No, if it is,
Go
it's...
to my personal page.
Yeah.
And I know that I reposted a photo of it when you gifted that to me, dude. I was so fucking honored. Like, it is so cool. I love that. Like, the bison, I think, is iconic America.
It is, yes.
Two, I have an infatuation with them. And then not only, like, recently what I've done, I don't know if I told you what I did recently, but I got to go on a primitive bison
Yes.
experiment
Uh,
through
well,
CU Boulder.
And you have the podcast on it too, right?
So check this out.
This is amazing.
These are some of the tools that I used.
So you use these to basically, well, not basically, to actually part out and cut. How do you take this and hold it? So are you wearing a glove or like what were they doing when it was?
Dude, it was a learning lesson.
Primitive is meaning I'm gonna hold it in my hand the way somebody from a primitive level would have done this, right?
So we could only use what they, or the archaeologists that were conducting the experiment, asked us to only use natural elements that these people from 2,000 years ago to 200 years ago might have had
What am I holding?
available. So there's all kinds of different stone, but this is actually blooded. Like I actually use this on the
That's
bison.
what I mean.
So
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
looking at is
Yeah.
the blood. Yeah, I figured it had to be.
So
So what am I holding in my hand? Like to describe this to the audience, this is a.
So let's hold it up to the camera. If you point it right there, Mike.
Yeah.
So look at how big that is. That is, I don't know what type of stone. Like my buddy Donnie Dust could tell you exactly what it is because he made it.
This
And
edge,
there's
by the
different
way,
stone.
is sharp. Like I can hold it, but you can feel.
You
how
should have
this
felt it when it was first made.
but I know how this would cut. And hair, everybody knows, will dull the hell out of a blade.
Yeah.
You got to go through that. It starts there, right? And then getting through all the other layers. But this thing, you can feel how this
Dude,
would
we
cut.
are all over the place on conversation. I love this.
Yeah, but I remember
Yeah.
you talking to me about how this was something that you went out and did.
It was so incredible.
You can't trade that experience for anything in the world.
You can't explain it. You cannot explain it on here. Like we spent the entire day together and it was, I've done 2 full episodes on it. If you want to go and listen to them,
Yeah.
one with Donnie Dust, who we've had multiple times on, who's a primitive survival expert, napper. Like he's a guy that had all the badass equipment.
Yeah.
Force Recon Marine. I hope I'm getting that right. Like crazy Marine, military vet. And at some point he was just like, I don't need this $300 sleeping bag. And I don't need this Petzl harness to go rock climbing. I don't need this Matthews bow that costs $1,100.
I remember this part.
I don't need whatever. And he was just like went back to a primitive culture. And like I think his first thing was and he's got 2 incredible books. I'll give you a couple when you leave.
Please, that would be awesome.
They're signed too. So
Oh,
super
wow.
cool. He brought
Thank
us
you.
a stack of them. And he's
Thank
like,
you kindly.
bring these to give these to cool people.
Yeah.
So but anyways, he's got a book, Scavenger and Earth Roamer. Highly recommend that you read those. He's been on the TV show Alone multiple times. I think multiple seasons. He's done multiple TV shows. He works as a Hollywood set medic. Like he knows how to save somebody's life in the wilderness, from a rattlesnake bite to a arterial bleed. Like this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. And we've gotten even deeper on some of his podcasts where he was a special agent, for the government of the United States of America.
And there you have
He
it.
was definitely not
and,
running.
and there you have it.
He was definitely not running. CIA stuff.
Jeremy.
I
Fucking
love
Jeremy.
No,
I
I
love
know
the
what you're talking about,
hesitation
guys.
there.
This is the type of art that he creates, dude. Like this is a work of fucking art. This obsidian.
But did he create? He found it, or did he create it? Like what? When I was holding this up,
and he made this.
so he made this too. Okay, so
he's gotten so good at it that CU Boulders hired him to recreate points from different eras in time, whether it was 4,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago. So they want to recreate something and reverse engineer it and test it to its effectiveness against the closest thing that they have to a megafauna creature. So a bison is the closest thing that we know to like a woolly mammoth or a whatever. So they literally make hundreds of these and test these stone projectiles with their effectiveness, where they break, how their construction methods were, the different construction methods from different eras.
So here is I just reached over and I gravitated to this because this is what we would think of as a traditional arrowhead, so to say, right? And then they would put that on.
But not only, so back here, Dr. Devin Pettigrew, like something that a lot of people don't recognize is this is an atlatl dart, right? So this is mainly what they were testing because they think that this is what they hunted big animals with, including bison. So it's a spear that they would attach. This has a field point on it.
It's got feather.
Well,
it's
they made
fletched.
it.
It's actually fletched.
It's a giant dart.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, I'm stepping on my own cord here.
That's no problem there.
So you use this to throw it. So think about, the little dog, the thing that you use to throw your dog
like
a tennis ball?
The tennis ball thrower.
That's an extension of your arm. So you hook this on the back. There's an indention. You hook this on the back of it and think about how much more penetration you can get. Jeremy, stand clear.
What the hell's happening in here?
Yeah. You have no idea, bro. I just almost hit you with a fucking dart. You got a dart in your neck, bro.
It's wild, dude. You got to go listen to these podcasts. I just had the archaeologist on that's doing all of these studies. His name is Dr. Devin Pettigrew. We did a full experiment. So half of the experiment was testing these different throwing methods, the tools, and then the second half of it was how do these tools work in the processing.
Unreal.
Like, so we started on a full bison, butchering it with nothing but stone tools.
This is I was wondering how we've all thrown like a stick at something, right? And made a dart out of it.
There you go.
But the leverage that they thought of to be able to use this, to be able to do that.
Bro.
That's
going into a buffalo. And then look at what that's doing aftermath.
So that's what people don't realize. And so we set up high-speed cameras. I forget the name of the camera that we were using. And he's like, oh, you're a photographer.
This is your video?
Well, it's
Same hunt.
part of his experiment.
Different camera.
And you can go and read all about this. If you go listen to episode, Jeremy, look this up, but I think it's episode 136.
Yeah.
He did a full scientific dissertation. This guy has doctor in his title. He's got a PhD in archaeology. And he's reverse engineering stone tools and their effectiveness. And this is his study.
Are you able to, I know we're being recorded right now, but.
Oh, dude, don't worry.
All right.
Dude, we are 2 hours and 6 minutes in. How about we just wrap it up and we'll bring it up the next time? I know it feels like we're just getting started, but like.
No, let's do an edit out and then let's edit this out and then we'll come back and wrap it up.
All right, perfect.
All right, perfect.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
We are back.
All right.
I feel so much better. We're going to have to go to Bistro del Largo and knock on the door. Are they still open? Dude, it's 11 o'clock. I didn't even realize.
JR will be closed for sure.
All right.
I'll see him
Let's
tomorrow
wrap
anyway.
this up
Yep.
here pretty soon. But
Yeah.
Mike, if you got a few more minutes, I know it's late.
No, we're fine. Yeah.
I want to bring it back to one of the main questions I wanted to ask you tonight. As an aspiring photographer that I am myself, it's something that I truly have a passion for. And I think so many people do, man. And there's a lot of people out there, and they're incredible photographers, whether it's landscape or wildlife. And
Yeah.
I've been so fortunate with this platform and some of the people that I know and where I live and some of the publications that I've had and some of the mentorship that I've had along the way. If there was an aspiring rodeo photographer out there, or just a photographer in general, what's the best advice that you could give them? Because it's weird that in art, and I'm a huge fan, and I would love to turn you onto it if you haven't. You've probably already read this. Have you checked out any of Stephen Pressfield's stuff?
You have to. I think that's automatic.
Dude, I could listen to that over and over again. Like, his audiobooks are only 2 hours or 3 hours, but like, it's something that you can throw on repeat and still pick up little parts and little pieces. It's so intricate.
Yeah.
That's an art form in itself, right? He is a writer.
Yeah.
On the photography level, there's so many different styles of photography. I gravitate to certain things, like my buddy Matt Lingo, my buddy Luke Pilgrain, my buddy. God,
Look at this.
Justin.
Have you ever seen David Yarrow?
There's so many badass photographers.
This is, and there's so much out there. This is what I was talking about earlier. How do you become original in a non-original world? This artist, by the way, has, I was just up in Vail this last weekend at the Vail Wine Classic where my gal Jennifer was working, and there's some of this art. I think David has his stuff in a place up there mostly because I recognize the picture with the I want to say it's a Malamute, but the wolf looking dog. I know this art.
The hot chick and the wolf.
Yeah, there's let's cut to the chase. Let's cut to the chase. Yeah. Do you want me to just to be obvious right here, like that one right in the middle? There's this deal, and
it looks like there's a wolf on a bar.
We all know what that picture is, right?
There's a guy holding a tennis racket.
Well, it's the Village People too.
It is the Village People.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But how do you get? I mean, this is amazing. And look in the back and the left on that picture, by the way. So the continuation of the Village People, you got the construction worker, you got the cowboy, you got like some Bjorn Borg tennis player looking dude, which wasn't part of the Village People. And
but it fits the photo.
I'm sorry, but is
well.
that's it? I mean, it looks like John McEnroe on the guitar, but it's probably not. Who is that on the guitar?
No, it is. It's John McEnroe.
Oh my gosh, which is one of my idols. I played tennis for 15 years, so I love John McEnroe.
Look at the deadpan.
Look at the creativity.
I'm sorry.
Yarrow's sick, man.
This is incredible, but it doesn't do it for me. Like, to each his own.
But
right?
to each his own. So
everything is different. Though.
My respect for look at the Brooklyn Bridge there in that picture.
This is one of my favorites.
How can it not be?
It's only a Lotus. No big
look
deal.
at how looming. Well, not only I don't even look at the car.
I hope that's his girlfriend, because she's in a lot of the photos.
Yeah, she takes place in a lot of the photos. But I've always said that what you have to do makes you move around the page. So I immediately gravitate to the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah. Then I obviously I started with her. I mean, let's be
thirds,
obvious.
Right? Is that how it works? It's thirds? I mean,
they say it's thirds, but how do you break up the thirds?
Actually take a photography class. There's leading lines. So if you go back to this, like, those buildings are leading lines to her. The Brooklyn Bridge is it's all.
Well, here, go to
railroad tracks. For example,
and I don't mean to use mine as an example, but let me show you something that, like, on what I do, and I learned this through.
This is so fucking cool. We should have gone on this 2 hours ago and stopped talking about Ukraine. Who gives a shit?
Part 2.
No.
Yeah, but you knew we were gonna have to talk about hunting. We have to, because so if you go to my page. It's covering corner to corner and not necessarily like like I'll experiment once in a while and do something and go, will this work? And take a chance on it, right? But if you go, like, for example, take the one that's right above you there, this one right in the middle, this one. So what you have is I don't have to have every single element of the animal in there. I don't even have to have...
Scroll up just a little bit, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Is the horse's nose, his full face in there?
The nose is in there. You just have to pull the page up a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
But look...
Dude, that is perfect composure.
Well, what I learned a long time ago, and this goes for taking human photography.
Look at the sunlight in that. That is
just the angle, the shadows on there. Look at how the
Mike.
strap on the right, it shadows off the hip of the horse. But you don't have to have everything in there. Let your imagination do what it's supposed to do too.
Yeah.
But if you look, it's a left corner to right corner. It flows. There's motion in there.
Yeah.
And that's something that
You're riding the bull. Or
the horse.
The horse.
Yeah, either way, the point is that motion in there. And look at the mane of the horse and the shaps and the action. It's the key to that is like, for example, see how the left front there, I'm above the knees. Somebody taught me a long time ago, or I read this, that if you're going to photograph people or animals or whatever, and if you're going to crop like I do in this case, make sure that you're at least above the knees as much as possible. And that's my little bit of a hint on how I do some stuff, because you have to be able to, if you're just below that and you're in the shin, there's something awkward about it. I don't know where that comes from or where that stems from, but you'll see that in a lot of mine. And then sometimes you'll see me just go, all right, willy-nilly, and just throw it out there. But like, this is one of my most recent pictures. And somebody asked me today.
That's an incredible photo.
Thank you. And it's cropped.
This is why I stop on your page. Like, anything that you post, I want to look at. It's worth it.
I'd love it, and thank you, because there's
it's worth the time to look at it.
And look at that though, like what he does, and everybody has their niche, but there's a gentleman by the name of Chris Meistes, and I might hack up his last name, Maestes, I believe. We ran into each other in Billings, Montana a couple years ago, and I walked into the bar, and he said, you're one of those. You're like one of the I'm not a big Marvel Comics guy, but he goes, you're one of those. Like, you're one of those 10 people that when I open up Instagram, I know it's a Michael Pintar picture. And I said, what do you mean? You know, I was flattered, so to say. And he just said, no, I know when you've done a picture, it's what you do, and you have your own little MO to it. And I think, I can't remember the
How do you stay true to that?
Well, I don't know, because I'm trying to stay original as much as I can, and then, or break it up. And how do you do that? I don't know. I'm starting to see other photographers take on some of what I do.
That's awesome.
And start to crop in, or maybe, yeah, let's be honest, crank up a few things here or there, right or left, in the post-processing part of it. But it seems to be what people gravitate towards when it comes to what I'm doing. And hopefully next time I'm sitting here, we're talking even beyond that.
I hope you own this motherfucker the next time.
I love that. So,
dude, you've grown so fast, and I
you.
think with good reason, and I really appreciate your friendship more than anything. Like,
yeah,
fuck everything else, but and I don't mean to come off that way, but like,
no, I know exactly.
You're
what
genuinely a good person. I think that goes a long ways too, and like sharing some of your secrets. Like, a lot of artists don't do that.
Oh, I want to share it every time.
It's crazy. And my buddy Jason Loftus is like that. Like, and those are the people that I want to have on. I've helped other people in the podcast space.
Yeah.
I think that is so important, right? So, like, bringing it back to that, Mike, what if there's aspiring photographers or something like that want to get into this, or what, because you're in such a niche photography setting in professional rodeo and becoming a professional rodeo photographer, and I'm sure that there's a small, minute amount of people that want to aspire to be that.
Yeah.
But from a photography standpoint, to have a subject to shoot, what better? This is why I shoot wildlife.
Yeah.
This is why I shoot elk that are in the rut, because they're fucking crazy and they're wild animals. And it's like
amazing
capturing those moments of anger and athleticism and true character.
Yeah.
Like you can portray a character in an animal just like you did with this bison, like Shake the Dust Off.
Yeah.
It's capturing those moments, right? To
Yeah.
me. And I think that you portray that so well to a young aspiring photographer, no matter whether you're shooting supermodels coming down the runway. But yeah, like there's an art form behind the composure and all that sort of stuff. You have to be genuinely passionate and you have to find your niche and your lane. Above and beyond that, there's so many artists that their work isn't seen. So like being on a public platform is probably number one, right?
Critical.
Like, share your work. Like you can be the best artist, you can be the Vincent van Gogh, but if you don't put your painting on a wall on a display for somebody to come see, nobody's going to know you're the greatest artist, right?
No.
So you number one have to share it, which I think is the very first hurdle. Whether you want to start a podcast, you want to be a radio DJ, you want to be a YouTuber, you want to be a social influencer, you want to be whatever. If you want to be a good photographer, you have to share your work.
Yes.
And that is probably that's probably the hardest hurdle for me, was just sharing it. Right?
Yeah.
And I was forced to as a photographer. Like,
Well, but
I
you
was
weren't
hired
forced to
to
because
shoot a
you
band.
actually decided to get into it.
I decided to get into it because I thought it would be an easy job.
Yeah.
Little did I find out, it is not. Like, all that weight on your shoulders, like, hey, you're the photographer for Slayer tonight, for the band.
Yeah.
And they better be happy with what you create. And by the way, they worship the devil.
Right, yeah,
So
we're
we
all
will
taught that. Yeah.
sacrifice you tonight. No, it wasn't that bad. But
No,
like,
but I love
how
that.
I felt.
That's
how I felt.
Yeah.
So if I didn't catch Kerry King in the right light with all of his chains and metal and fucking, I love Slayer.
Yeah.
So even beyond that, it's like, to be rejected by somebody that you love would be the worst feeling in the world, right? Like
Yeah.
your own mother to like throw you into a river to die.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Like that was the weight that was on my shoulders. Like,
How about trying to learn to accept that you're not going to be able to get everything? That's the hardest part about it.
that's the worst.
But
There's moments that I'm sure in the rodeo arena, like, fuck, I missed that.
I run
moment.
the risk of missing more shots than getting them. But again, I'm a still photographer. Now, if I want to take advantage of technology, which my cameras are more than capable of doing, I could just buy huge, immense video cards and just do video and then pull stills from that. There's another little hint to all you out there aspiring photographers. Do video. Pays better.
Well, even these cameras, like on the fly, we just upgraded, right?
Yeah. You're
'Cause I'm
you
trying to keep up
invested
with
into what you're
Cameron
doing.
Haynes.
Just tighten it up.
Freaking Cameron.
No, I love it,
Little
dude.
badass.
I love it. That's what that
Yeah.
guy does. Is he pushes the bar. That's what you're doing in the rodeo community. I'm sorry, dude. We're diving all over the place, and
Yeah.
I'm keeping you here super late.
That's okay.
Let's dial it back.
Okay.
So what I wanted to get out of this is my main thing for this podcast is number one, what I can get out of it. I'm selfish
Yeah.
and I'm an aspiring photographer.
Yeah.
So like, what advice would you give to me if I wanted to become a rodeo photographer? Because I feel like it's a little bit of, even like rock and roll, there's it's kind of who you know and not what you know.
It
like,
is.
How do you stand out, and how how do we break those cycles in culture to really, like, your work has to be over and above like yours is,
Yeah.
to raise an eyebrow and be like, fuck, this guy's getting magazine covers.
Yeah.
He's getting 20,000 followers in a year's period. Like,
Well, number one,
and that's not bullshit. You're not buying those, right?
no,
I
no,
hope
I
not.
don't even know. I don't even.
Wouldn't that
No,
suck
there's
if he was
there's
like,
people that
How do you-
buy
how
your
do you-
spend
followers.
$500 on those?
How do you do that though?
You
I don't
spend
even.
a couple $1,000s and you can get a couple thousand followers.
But isn't that like bots or whatever? Or is
Yeah.
that? I don't even know what all
it's
that
called
stuff is.
lying. Like, you are a liar.
Yeah, no, you can't do that because
It's a fugazi. It's a fake
it's a
diamond.
fugazi. Yeah, I love that.
You're wearing the
Exactly.
Godfather hat right now.
Oh, I've got. hey, shout out to JR again. I've got your Bistro del Lago hat on.
Yeah.
and he designed it after the Godfather.
But it really
deal.
is. I mean,
It's here's the thing. Number one, photography is not a cheap sport, right? Or a cheap hobby. So yes, anybody can go out and get a camera. I started out with just a point and shoot, and somebody told me a long time ago, hey, you have an eye for this. Bullshit, everybody can do this. That's what I kept telling myself. I honestly meant it when I said earlier that I did not call myself a photographer up until just over a year ago. And I mean that because I think there was this mentality that, you know, you can't make a living doing that. You got to go out and find an honest job, you know, salary and full benefits and all that. And I'm still learning that at my age. But the thing with photography is that kind of like 20 years ago or plus years ago when I tried to get on a bull, I knew if I was going to be good or not. I didn't know business doing it anyway. I was born and raised in Milwaukee. But the point is I wanted to do it. I wanted to dip my toes in the water. And if I was good and cashed a few checks, maybe won a rodeo or two, that was what I needed to prove to myself. And that's where I got at that level. But there was this artistic side that was always there. Something about it told me that maybe I can get into photography.
you have to feel the furnace burning.
Yeah, it was always there. It was always looming. And I didn't need people to tell me you have an eye for it anymore. But if you're going to get into it and you want to, and you think you're an aspiring photographer, then be willing to at least make some type of monetary investment because it does require equipment. And if you want to get down to the brass tacks of what you need to get going, you're going to need at least a decent camera body. And to shoot most rodeos, you need at least a 70 by 200 millimeter camera, lens.
Prime lens.
Or prime. You have to have primes too. And for those of you who don't know what primes is, if I buy an 85 millimeter or a 50 millimeter, that's what it is. It's 85, it's 50 millimeter. If I buy a 400 millimeter, it's 400 millimeter, which, by the way, 400 millimeter lenses are $10,000 plus. So don't be afraid to make that investment. Camera bodies are the most expendable piece in your arsenal. Now, DSLR took a big change a while back, and now we got mirrorless. So I shoot mirrorless camera bodies, made the investment into them, less moving parts. But I don't like the lenses as much. I shoot Canon, and all the Canon lenses I had prior to before going mirrorless were solid state. Like, they could handle rodeo. They were made for it. So if it rained, or if it snowed, or if you dealt with any of the elements, the sand, the dust, the kicking up, they handled it better. Now, Canon, I told you guys, I said, when you came up with your mirrorless stuff, and we have these articulating lenses now, so that means that when I shoot with my 70 by 200, the lens will move in and out from the actual body.
It's automated, right?
Well, it's still automated, but there's a moving part. Moving parts. What do moving parts do? They create an opportunity to break down. So the previous 70 by 200 f2.8 lenses, for those of you who understand a little bit about photography, that is the sharpest lens that you can shoot with that gives you the most reach for shooting close to what you do, like I do. That f2.8 draws in more light. It's fast. It's just a good all-around lens. But before, it was all built in. All the mechanics were built into that lens. Now they came up with this, well, we're going to go lighter, and they call it Canon RF 70 by 200 on the mirrorless end. But what happens is it's shorter, but when you try to like reach out and touch someone, as they say, the lens articulates out, and all that opening that is happening there, even though they still say it's capable of handling the weather, opens up the opportunity for dust and dirt to get in there. So is it built for rodeo? Hell to the no. But that's what I shoot with now. And I'm going to beat the shit out of that stuff. And then I'm going to come back to Canon and go, all right, can I be on your team to say, can we rebuild things a little bit? Someday, hopefully they invite me to do that, because that's what we need in rodeo. So now.
They should. Those are the worst fucking elements out there.
Probably. It's the worst. We shoot 24/7 around the clock, all elements. I told you before, rodeo ends on September 30th and starts October 1st, right? So you're shooting in all elements of the year. Yeah, you have indoor rodeos when the weather gets cold, like national finals.
Yeah, but just dust is the worst enemy of electronics ever.
I don't even know.
And then when it gets wet, it turns to mud.
It turns to mud, and we've had the muddiest season ever. I will actually shoot. I was cleaning off my lens the other day. I go, how the hell did that dust get in there? I have no idea how it got in there. You tell me. You're the ones who created it, Canon.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to call out Canon. I'm just saying that we have to work on that. So to wrap this up, if you're an aspiring photographer, anytime somebody DMs me, which who would have thought that'd be an acronym now, direct messages me on Instagram or reaches out to me on Facebook, or if you go to my website, you can always text me. I want to be able to answer every question you have about how you get into doing what we're doing, because for the longest time, nobody was there for me on that. I had to learn on my own. And I want to create a way for people to not be discouraged, to say, hey, if we're going to do a...
So this is an open invitation.
It is an absolute open invitation. In fact, I've been asked to do a school somewhere along the way here to be able to say, this is what I do. But that would be like me teaching somebody how to fly fish. I can fly fish like a motherfucker, but I can't. I'm probably not the best teacher because I'm self-taught. When it comes to photography, yeah, I've done a lot more studying, and I've learned what works and what doesn't. So we'll focus on that.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's very gracious of you as an artist, and this is when I feel like I've found a true artist, in my opinion, like a Steven Pressfield or a Joe Rogan or a Jason Loftus. Like, these guys are not afraid to share their secrets, their thing. They want to make everybody better. They're still badasses. They still do what they do, but they're an open book. It's huge. And I've tried to be that way, and what a great mentorship, man. Like, that's so fucking cool, Mike.
I'll get into how I post-process my images. I don't care. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, I need you to give me some lessons, because I want to take your approach in Oh my God. I want to take your approach in
post-process.
Yeah, there you go. You said it. You're the smarter guy. In my wildlife photography.
Yeah.
Because I think what you do is awesome. Jason's the same way. And your guys' similarity in post-processing is very, like, I don't know how to explain it. We'll look at it off the mic. But,
all right,
dude, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
At 3 hours.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I feel like we barely got into it. So you're coming back. Mike, you're welcome here anytime. Jeremy, how we doing over there?
That's the best.
Let's end this shit.
I love it.
Right.
I love it.
Cheers, buddy.
All right,
I love
you,
man.
brother.
Thank
love
you. Thanks,
all right,
everybody, for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. Also, if you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.